It's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Monday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Halos over the weekend. A victory Monday here in San Diego. That's always nice to talk about. Padres continuing to play, in my opinion, really good baseball. They are tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball with Atlanta and the Dodgers. All three teams have 15 wins. Dodgers just up a half game on both the Braves and the San Diego Padres for the best record in Major League Baseball. And you start looking at how the divisions play out, how the leagues play out. I mean, you look at the National League, and you got a lot of teams in the National League West that are competing near the top. You look at the league standings in general, just like all of Major League Baseball. I'm going to tell you right now, you got 3 teams in the National League in the top 3. You have 5 teams in the National League in the top 5. In fact, you have the top 7 teams in Major League Baseball are all in the National League. 8 of the top 9 are all in the National League. And 9 of the top 10. Just based on record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are the top 10 teams in Major League Baseball, Frank. 9 of them are in the National League. Can you believe that?
No, I cannot actually. I've always heard for years and years that the American League was the superior league to the National League.
Not anymore.
I'm actually quite surprised by that.
9 of the top 10 teams, just based on record in Major League Baseball, are from the National League. Now, that being said, there is one team tied for like that 10th spot, which is an American League team, but still, it's all National League teams. Dodgers, Braves, Padres, Reds, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Pirates, American League team, Brewers, Cubs. Who's the American League team?
I would assume the Yankees.
It is the Yankees, followed by the Rays and the Guardians and the Tigers. That's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. And even it's not even like the National League has a bunch of teams near the bottom. There's just one down there, and it's all American League teams. Red Sox are near the end, White Sox, Astros, National League team, Royals. We're going to keep that name anonymous for the rest of the show.
You don't have to.
Until they win.
You don't have to.
They've lost 11 straight. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Is this have they said it's rock bottom yet on the TV broadcast for SNY?
No.
Not yet. You don't seem fine.
I just don't see how Carlos Mendoza is still employed at this point. I really don't understand.
Losing 11 straight games.
It's not even just this season. Again, going back to the middle of August last year, they have the worst record in baseball with 2 completely different teams. I don't see how, and especially last night or yesterday afternoon with bullpen mismanagement, I don't understand how he still has a job right now.
How does David Cohen have a job right now?
David Stern?
David Stern, sorry.
I don't know.
David Stern have a job right now?
I don't know how he has a job right now either.
Steve Cohen, you better start asking some people here. Dude, what do you think? I would love to know what WFAN and all the sports stations in New York are like right now for Mets fans.
They're talking about Dexter Lawrence right now. Are you kidding?
Dexter Lawrence getting traded to the Bengals instead.
Yeah, it's draft week. That's all anyone cares about right now.
And put the Mets on the back burner. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them when they realize in June when they start paying attention to baseball, the Mets are just catastrophically.
Oh no, that's not
further
to,
along.
that's not to say that they don't. That's not to say that they're not paying attention. Most of their calls today and stuff will be on baseball, will be on the Mets and Yankees, but it's their focus right now is going to be mostly draft this week.
Speaking of draft, our draft coverage on 97th to the Fan is presented nationally by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. That'll be the draft coverage for those shows. All right, you got to go up to the Big A. Was that your first time at the Big A? You've been to the Big A before?
Yeah, I've been a couple times.
Did you drive or take the train?
No, I drove.
That's a foul.
Oh.
For a guy that loves trains, dude,
he draws the foul.
what an easy excuse to take the train. It's like $15. I know parking's up there is free. It cost you more money to drive up there than it did probably just to jump on the train.
No kidding. Love gas prices.
What time did you get up? So you left after the show. Let's go through what's going on.
Got up there at 4:30. I did a lap around the ballpark because I had no idea where I was going, and of course, I went the wrong way for the credential pickup. The credential pickup for there is very interesting because for the day credentials, the Padres print out a nice thing. They give you a nice lanyard.
Right.
The Angels don't do that.
What do they do?
They give you a sticker.
You have a sticker?
Yeah.
What do you put the sticker on? Like your shirt?
Yeah, you put sticker on your shirt, and then they scan your chest the rest of the day, depending upon where you're going.
Oh, it's like a credential sticker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So go there right up to the press box, like 5 o'clock or so. I was looking for where to sit because in Anaheim they don't
really have a press box. It's really small.
They have two.
Yeah, they have like they do. They do have two. They have like they have the part where like all of the broadcasters are, and then they have like kind of a press part. But isn't that in the corner?
They have.
Or is that Colorado?
They have where all of the broadcasters are. Which, by the way, the size of every broadcast booth in Anaheim is about the same size as the press box here. Like they have space.
They have room to do activities.
Yeah, they do, and a lot of them at that. But then they have a little room off to the side of the visitors' television for all the BBWA, for all the baseball writers, the national baseball writers. It's like Kevin Acey was there. The 4 Angels people were there. I didn't know this before I switched my seat that Cassavell and Lynn weren't there. At least on Friday, they weren't there. And then they had like a table on an elevated platform up at the top for 2 San Diego Union Tribune writers. So I was a Union Tribune writer for the night.
Thank you, Ryan Finley. Appreciate you hiring Frank for the day.
And then there's another press area where all the rest of the writers are, where I probably should have been, down in the right field corner.
Yeah, that's where exactly.
So they have the baseball writers spot, and then they have all the other peasants on down the right field side.
That place needs a facelift so bad in so many different ways. I went up there during COVID. During the COVID season, we had access to games and stuff. You just had to fill out some forms and stuff like that and get cleared by the doctors. You had to take like a test real quick to be able to. And they did a summer. Remember they did the summer training?
Yes.
Instead of spring training. So they did that and they played a couple of exhibition games to get hot. And I remember being there, and what they did was to keep everybody separated, and nobody was in the building. Everybody had their own suite.
Nice.
So you had your own suite with nothing in it. You were just in there. But that was basically the size of, a mini little press. The size of their suites are like the size of our broadcast booths, and the size of their broadcast booths are the size of our suites.
Yeah.
They got that backwards up there in Anaheim. But anyway, we're going to talk more about Frank's trip up to Anaheim in a second. But I do want to talk about what's going on and what we're watching with the Padres right now. Because this is how you build a playoff team in April. This is it. This is the blueprint. You don't wait until July. You don't wait until August. You don't say, we'll figure it out later. No. When you have an opportunity, when the schedule lines up, when you're healthy enough, and when things are clicking even a little bit, this is where you stack wins. You rack them up and you bank them for later. And right now, it's exactly what this team is doing. They were able to get 8 straight wins, drop the game, 2 more straight wins. They have won, at this point, 14 games in the month of April, and they're finding good ways to beat good pitching. They're grinding out at bats. They're getting just enough offense. They're getting elite bullpen work. They're getting starting pitching that, quite frankly, isn't even at its peak yet. And that's the scary part, because this isn't even the best version of this team, and yet they're still getting wins. They're still rolling through the schedule. And let's start with yesterday, because it was a good example of what I was talking about. You were able to get Michael King to go through it. Now, he labored a little bit. He went for, he walked multiple players. I think he had 4 walks and 6 strikeouts on his final line.
Yep.
That's fine.
105 pitches, too.
But he pitched well enough to get you a dub. He only gave up 1 hit. Kyle Hart went through a little bit of problems, but I like the way that this team has been playing. Now, Friday was kind of a clunker. Okay, we don't want to talk too much about Friday. I think you're going to get those over the course of 162, especially after a long winning streak. But overall, this weekend, I thought the Padres are finding different ways to win. Everybody is contributing in some type of way. Bryce Johnson yesterday got a start, got a couple of hits, drove in a run yesterday. Xander Bogaerts has really been carrying this team offensively. You have seen contributions from Fernando. You have seen contributions from guys like Jackson Merrill and throughout the lineup. And you still haven't even seen Manny really get going that much. But this is a team, despite not probably playing the best baseball they can play and only a plus 17 on their run differential, this is a team that is tied for the best record in Major League Baseball, at least the most wins. They're off the pace of the Dodgers by a half a game, who lost 2 out of 3 this weekend in Colorado. So, overall, I think I like where the Padres are at. And here's the other thing about the Padres. Because for San Diego, I think a lot of people talked about the start to the season last year. How many people this season, Frank, after the lousy start the Padres got, immediately said, well, last year's start to the season is the only reason why we got in the playoffs. They got to be able to start better than how they started. They did it like 2 weeks later. They ended up winning 8 straight games, and right now, the Padres are 15-7. Through 22 games last year, the Padres were 16-6. They're a game off the pace they had last year, in which they won 90 games. Manny's hitting under 200 right now. You haven't really gotten Jackson Merrill going too much. Fernando's been good, but hasn't really put up power numbers. And overall, I agree with what Ben and Wood said this morning. They're not super excited for everybody to come up to bat. There's not somebody in the lineup you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy swing in this spot. But there's nobody in that lineup, Frank, that you're sitting there going, oh, man, this guy's coming up. Everybody's got a fighting chance up there at the plate. They don't have a lot of automatic outs in their lineup, if at all. And everybody's contributing. I think they're playing good defense. I think you're getting the pitching that you need out of the starting pitching. And together as a group, I think this team is playing really good baseball. And it's a big reason why they've won 14 games in the month of April. So right now, this is a good time for the Padres, based on the schedule, to rack up wins throughout the season. So the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 of the weekend of the Rockies. They're going to play the Rockies again tonight for the final game of a 4-game series. Dodgers lose tonight, you're going to be tied for first place in April, which would be great to see. Now, last year, obviously, the Padres got off to such a hot start that they started in first place, but it's not about, in my opinion, winning the division. It's about putting the pressure on the Dodgers where they feel the heat coming around the corner. And that heat is the San Diego Padres. And to be honest with you, it ain't that far back that the Arizona Diamondbacks are right there on their tail, too. I mean, the National League West has been very top-heavy, and if the Giants figure it out, this is a highly competitive division and probably one of the best divisions in all of Major League Baseball. But overall, I think this Padres team is playing good baseball. Is everybody on the team playing really good baseball? No, not everybody on the team. But I think collectively, as a team, you're getting good pitching, you're getting good defense, and you're getting good at-bats at the plate. Even guys that are struggling at the plate, Frank, they're still putting together good at-bats. I think this team is playing good baseball, Frank.
Yeah, for sure. They have played very, very well. They played solid. And listen, games like Friday night, you're not winning those games. when a team has so much emotion behind it like that, I mean, we saw it with Jose Fernandez a number of years ago. You're not winning games like that. So you could chalk that game up as a loss. But you got down exactly what you needed to do on Saturday and Sunday. You got German Marquez, had a great game. 5 2/3 innings, only 2 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Great outing from German Marquez. And then you get another gritty performance out of Michael King to get you 5 innings and only 1 hit. So you did exactly what you needed to do. You grinded out a couple of close games, and that's an immediate answer and an immediate bounce back from Friday night.
Yeah, I think the way I'm actually encouraged by the way German Marquez pitched. I think German Marquez and Walker Buehler continue to get better and continue to, play into this redeveloped role that they have as a starting pitcher. They're new pitchers now. They can't win on velocity anymore. Although we've seen an uptick in velocity in both of them. I think they're grinding out and giving you gritty performances. They both have a positive WAR right now. German Marquez is a 0.2 B WAR. Walker Buehler has a 0.1 B WAR. Both of them have an ERA under 5. I mean, German Marquez has given you a 2-1 record with a 3.86 ERA over 18 2/3 innings. I mean, he has been your third best starting pitcher right now in the rotation. He's given you a number 3 type performance right now, which is great to see. Walker Buehler is giving you good performances night in and night out. And to be honest with you, they probably went a little bit too long with Walker Buehler the other day. Otherwise, he'd have a sub-4 ERA right now. They let him go out there and pitch, which I'm not necessarily opposed of doing. I don't know what you do with Matt Waldron. I mean, I don't know how much of a leash you're going to give Matt Waldron either, but Friday night was not very good. You saw it in person. We're going to talk about that when we come back. But, Matt Waldron's 29 years old. He's got a negative 0.3 WAR. 0-1 now with a 14.73 ERA because he went 3 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 earned runs on 8 hits with a home run and a walk. Had 4 strikeouts. Seems a little bit different here at the big league level. And again, he's a knuckleball pitcher. I know he wants to not be a knuckleball pitcher. He wants to be a starting pitcher with a knuckleball. But until he improves his stuff, and I know he's throwing the ball harder, but he's averaging 93 on the fastball. That's not really going to cut it if you don't have anything else that might be elite. And if the knuckleball's not working, it's kind of tough sledding. We're going to talk more about the back end of the rotation when we come back, because out of all of the good things going on, the biggest glaring thing of the weekend was the Matt Waldron start on Friday. We'll talk about it when we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I didn't get to ask Frank this question yet. And we're going to talk about Matt Waldron's start on Friday, but Frank was there on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Frank went up to the Big A on Friday. 60 years they've been playing there. They just announced that today. Congratulations. You got to go there for the 60th anniversary deal.
Star Wars weekend, too.
I will say they're showing all the clone troopers and stuff like that and stormtroopers on there for instead of the Padres for the starting lineup was hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was great.
But I don't know why they play the whatever that song is, dun 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 dun. That's kind of cool. I don't know why.
Imperial March.
The Imperial March. The Imperial March is kind of cool. Honestly, if they did that for like a starting lineup, it would be kind of sick.
Because it's the song of the bad guy in the visiting team.
You know what? Here's the deal. The Yankees should totally embrace that. Because they do that for like the road team all the time. They play the Imperial March and then they play like some Jedi thing for themselves. Mm-hmm. And they have like the noises in the background with two strikes. I don't know why they've embraced like being the team of Star Wars, but that's just the Yankees. They're the evil empire.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars. They look like stormtroopers at home just with pinstripes. They should just fully embrace being the evil empire. Why not be the bad guy? You might as well embrace the hate. I learned that a long time ago. Embrace the hate. It's more fun that way to be the evil empire of a sports league.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be the good guys when you outspend everybody. Dodgers. Just embrace being hated by everybody. It's going to go a long way. Trying to convince people why they should root for you is a waste of time. Embrace being the bad guy. It's fun. That's what they should have done. Anyway, Frank went up there on Friday. How was the Calling All the Angels? What's it? Calling All the Angels? What's the song?
Calling All Angels.
Calling All Angels by Train. That's their little opening montage video to go through the history of the Los Angeles Angels,
and
of Anaheim, of Fullerton,
it's
of
really cool.
Orange County.
And it's really in depth. It is a lot of fun to watch. It's very interesting to see all of the Cy Young Award winners that have gone through, all of the league MVPs, the championship years, whether it be the division or the World Series. They did go a little too far with it at some points. Like I said, I don't think I need to know every single player that's hit for the cycle in Angels history, and I certainly don't need a 20-second video package of each hit like they gave. But my biggest takeaway from that is Calling All Angels by Train is a lot longer
than you initially thought.
Than it has any right to be.
Frank got there at 4:30. They started playing the song, and then he was ready for first pitch at 6:38, and the song was still playing.
That song, you get through about 2.5, 3 minutes, and that song is still going, and you're like, man, this song is a lot longer than I remember.
I looked it up. So the radio edit version is 3 minutes and 51 seconds. You know what radio edit means? That usually means there's the shorter version because we don't want to take up our entire airwaves playing this song. The album version is like 4 minutes and 5 seconds. They played an extended Los Angeles Angels edition of at least 5 minutes on.
Yeah, they play the director's cut. is what they do. It was one of those. There was a joke about like a diner jukebox and how this guy played What's New Pussycat on the diner jukebox like 8 songs in a row. And he could slowly start seeing people going insane. Because it's like, after the first time you play it, fine, it's there.
They played it multiple times on Friday?
Then the snow.
It was just that long.
And then the second time, they're like, man, this song is a lot longer than I remember. Then the third time is like, okay, something's going on. And then the fourth time is like, yeah, no, somebody keeps playing this on repeat. And then after the fifth time, you're unplugging the diner jukebox. I wanted to unplug the diner jukebox after like 3 minutes of that song. The video is great. Another thing that they do that I thought was really cool that I wish would actually come down here, they put up a QR code on the screen to do like a flickering light
Oh, yeah, they do
thing
that sometimes.
for the 7th inning stretch. That was really cool. I enjoyed that. That looked really cool from inside.
A rally monkey still there?
Only during the first inning. They didn't
really need it, I guess, at that point.
Rally Monkey kind of chilled on Friday night.
They didn't need the rally monkey.
No, he made his pregame appearance, and that was more or less it.
Did they still do that? Well, sometimes they do it I gotta guess anybody that went to the game on Saturday and Sunday, probably a lot more rally monkey. But I remember like they would like put him into movie scenes.
Yep,
they still did
seen
that?
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that or not.
Not on Friday night. I remember the last time I was up there was for an Angels Mets game that went 13 innings. Anthony Recker hit a home run in the 13th inning to win the game. But yeah, they had him in like George of the Jungle. They had him in a bunch of different stuff.
He was in like Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in like all these, or he's like in The Shining, where it's like, here's Johnny, and it's like the rally monkey's face, and then they play the Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Rally Monkey had a night off on Friday.
Yeah, I think you can still buy the plush rally monkeys at the Anaheim store, at the Angels store. Overall, that stadium sucks, though.
The one thing that it does...
It's just so old.
The one thing that it does give you that you miss, other than claustrophobia, is the like that walk through the tunnel, and you just see the stadium slowly start to appear.
Yeah,
that's lost now because of the way modern stadiums are built. But that's still an awesome sight to see. Is when you walk through a tunnel, and the stadium just slowly appears in front of you.
The rock pile in center field still doesn't make any sense. The big Thunder Mountain ride they have out there in the middle of center field for no reason also doesn't make any sense. I also miss the fact that they don't have the big A as the scoreboard anymore, and that's been long gone.
Yeah,
like that I don't think that's ever been up like in my lifetime. But it's just sitting out in the parking lot, and you can park underneath it. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it is. I do like though when you drive through Anaheim and it says like Angels win. You always know when the Angels win because the halo's on. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a cool tradition too. There's some cool stuff, but that's when you go to an Angels game. That's like old school sporting event, massive parking lot, right?
Yep.
People are tailgating. You get the smell. When I walk into that, I went to a game a couple of years ago. We went up there for an Angels game to watch Ohtani pitch because it was kind of a crazy thing back then before. And that was when he was on the Angels. So it was like kind of cool to go watch Ohtani play. And we went up there to watch him pitch. I remember walking through the concourse going like, this smells like Qualcomm. Like this is like, It has that like Qualcomm smell of like the stale beer on like the floor that had like the, I guess the best way I can describe is like the bubble floor. They had the texturized floor that they had at Qualcomm and stuff like that. I remember walking through the it's always like it's kind of cold and damp in there too when you're walking through the concourse around the entire perimeter. I was getting so much Qualcomm vibes with that type of stadium. There's not a lot of those stadiums standing anymore.
No.
So it's kind of cool for the nostalgia portion of it. But overall, when you have a place like Petco Park and you go to the Big A, you're just like, oh man, this place is a dump.
And it was loud too.
Like it was fans there.
It was rocking that entire night, even on every foul ball catch, like every foul ball catch or drop that a fan made. That place was going nuts.
What a lot of Padres fans, I would imagine.
A lot of them down the first base side. It sounded like, especially yesterday, it sounded like there were a lot more than there were. But it was mostly Angel fans on Friday, at least, and that place was packed out on Friday.
I heard it was like pretty good crowds.
Yeah.
I saw Angels fans complaining about how long it took to get into the Angel Stadium over the weekend, and they're like, "Oh, maybe they're just like excited for how they played against the Yankees."
Depended on where you went, on as far as getting in, it depended on what gate you went to.
Well, those gates at the beginning, at the front entrance. That's the other cool thing about the front entrance. They have like the bricks
the big helmets
but they have the bricks that lay out an actual size baseball field, so you can like run the bases and stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about the starting pitching when we come back. German Marquez, Walker Buehler, Matt Waldron, everybody's last outing. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 10:40 on a Monday. Talking Padres baseball here on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again for tuning in to us today. If you missed anything, you can go back on our YouTube page, youtube.com/B_SURP. Give us a like on the video. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We're going to have more content coming your way this afternoon. And, we do all these videos Tuesday through Friday in between our live segments that are recorded videos that are recorded on Mondays and then throughout the week. But if you want to get that full access immediately when we post them, be a member. You are the first ones to see that content. So we appreciate you guys doing that. Again, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube page, it is free to do. Hit subscribe, get you notifications every time that we put together new videos, and we got tons of new content each and every week on the Braden Surprenant Show page. If you are on 97.3, the Fans page, you can find us easily on there as well. If you scroll down on the main page to our shows, you can subscribe to all of our shows. Ben and Woods is on there. You can subscribe to them. You can subscribe to my show, Gwen and Chris, also Sam Levitt and Matt Scraby. Subscribe to all and be littered with local sports content. We appreciate you guys doing that. All right, let's talk about Matt Waldron's start on Friday. Let's talk about Germán Marquez's start on Saturday. And since we know that Michael King's going to be part of this team, we're going to bring back in Walker Buehler and his start on Thursday, because these three players are the ones that are battling for two spots right now in the rotation, with Griffin Canning coming back. Now, again, I think in terms of trying to evaluate what you have talent-wise at the major league level, the Padres have kind of gotten a little bit of a blessing in disguise with Nick Pivetta going on the injured list, because now they can let Matt Waldron get some starts at the big league level this year with his new improved stuff to see what you have. But at the end of the day, you've had Matt Waldron in this organization for 3 or 4 years now. You kind of have a general idea of what you're going to get out of Matt Waldron. But what you didn't want to see is, in order to give him opportunities at the big league level after his rehab assignment was done, was to try to cut Walker Buehler and Germán Marquez. I think there are room for improvement for those guys. I also think it's a high value to keep those guys part of your organization. And I don't think those guys are going to survive a putting on waivers or designated for assignment without going to a different team. But let's talk about the last three starts. Walker Buehler had a strong, efficient bounce-back effort on Thursday against the Mariners. He went 5 innings on just 88 pitches. They tried to let him go out for the 6th. That's where things got a little awry. Only allowed the 2 earned runs, but generated 12 whiffs on 32% called strike whiff rate. And even with average stuff, C+ across the board, he posted a B grade result by sequencing well, making in-game adjustments, more four-seamers against left-handers, big sweeper against righties. Velocity was up across the board versus his 2026 averages. Clear improvement for Walker Buehler. He's going in the right direction. Matt Waldron on Friday, he had a rough night. Short outing, got shelled for 6 earned runs on 8 hits, including a home run on 81 pitches, only 5 whiffs, and a low 21% on his called strike whiff rate. His knuckleball heavy approach, 38 to 40% usage, didn't generate swings and misses like usual, and the results grade was a brutal D-. Stuff was still decent at a B-, but command and execution deserted him. And that's kind of important, Frank, because his biggest asset is the fact that he can locate his fastball, and he didn't really have it like that on Friday. We watched on television. We followed along. You watched in person. Based on our outline of what Matt Waldron did analytically, what was your eye test telling you about Matt Waldron on Friday in person?
Not great. He looked overmatched for the most part. Now, I'll give him a little bit of leeway because he was on 2 extra days rest, I believe, if I remember correctly, because he was supposed to start the day that he went to San Diego. So he did get a couple of extra days between his 2 starts. So I'd be interested to see how he looks in his next outing, which is going to be in Denver, which isn't a great look either.
Well, and you don't get as much movement on your stuff in Denver, as we've seen with even Nick Pivetta. Like the knuckleball, you kind of need the thinner air up there. That knuckleball ain't moving as much in Colorado.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at that, I mean, he might not get a genuinely fair shake at this look in the rotation. But of all the guys that you have down in the minors, you know what Matt Waldron could give you because he's been here before. And I see Matt Waldron giving you a little bit better than what he gave you in Anaheim. I don't see him doing much better good enough to beat out what Walker Buehler has done, and certainly not what Griffin Canning can do.
Right. And the other thing too is I think you have to. The other thing that doesn't work out in Matt Waldron's favor is the fact that he's not making the money that German Marquez and Walker Buehler's making. And the fact that I think both German Marquez and Walker Buehler have pitched well enough now where somebody's going to pick them up. You're not going to be able to sneak those guys down to AAA. And also, they're not going to want to pitch in AAA. They've shown that they can pitch at the major league level. The only one I think that you'd be able to keep is Matt Waldron if you decide to DFA him to bring Griffin Canning back. But that's the decision that needs to be made. Now, German Marquez the next day was dominant. Shutout ball through 5 2/3, just 2 hits, 2 walks, ended up getting 5 strikeouts. And here's the other thing. Most of the strikeouts were late, Frank. They were late in the game, late in his outing. 10 whiffs and a 30% called strike whiff rate on 88 pitches, posted an A- result thanks to elite locations, B+, and a heavy curveball attack. 42 pitches, 48 to 55% usage. Stuff is still below average at C-, but the execution, movement, separation were outstanding. And you can go through the side-by-side on a lot of different comparisons with this, but you look at where Matt Waldron's at. He used his pitch mix and everything like that, and his fastball's up. His fastball's averaging 92.5. So it's not like, because I saw a lot of people like, well, he threw 96 in spring training. Like, well, what, twice? His average comes in at 92.5, and his knuckleball's not working the way it is. Matt Waldron has always been the guy that he's had a good knuckleball, and it's got him to the big leagues, but now he wants to not be a knuckleball pitcher. I think it's the only way he stays in the big leagues. And for people that have asked in the chat, why are we kind of writing off Waldron when Marquez got shelled and Buehler got shelled a couple times already? They have the track record at Major League Baseball over a long course of many years, and they're new to the organization where they have made steadied improvements with this, working with Ruben Niebla and the technology the Padres have and the pitching program that the Padres have. Matt Waldron's been here for 3 years, Frank. You know what you're going to get. It's not just going to drastically change, even though he might be younger. And I think the bottom line takeaway from the numbers is Marquez had the best start out of the group. Buehler was solid, and he's improving. And Waldron was the clear weak link. Shortest outing, highest damage, lowest swing and miss. It's kind of hard to make the argument for him, but you have to give him a couple of more starts, I think, to give him a fair shake. But I just feel like he's not going to be able to make it through the entire season where the other guys will. I also think you could, out of the 3 people that we're talking about that you could potentially sneak through waivers and put him down in AAA, Matt Waldron's the guy that could probably stay part of the organization. I think teams will take a flyer on Buehler and Marquez.
For sure. And looking through Baseball Savant from that night, there were 321 pitches thrown between the two teams.
On Friday night. Matt Waldron's fastest pitch ranked at 117th, 94 miles an hour. You will also find most of Matt Waldron's pitches between 297 and 321. As a matter of fact, you will see all of his pitches between that. He is not a power pitcher. He has to embrace the fact that he is a knuckleballer. It's one thing if he threw 100 and a knuckleball, but he doesn't. Or he throws at least 96, 97 on average. It would be way different.
He throws 100. He throws 90 and a knuckleball. Buddy, you got to embrace the fact that you're a knuckleball pitcher. that's how you make your bread here in the big leagues. If you want to stay up, you're a knuckleballer. I'm sorry. That's what everything shows. When he was throwing the knuckleball the most in 2024, that was when he was at his best.
And when he was at his best, what were his numbers? Do you know? I haven't pulled up. He was 7-11. He had a 0.9 WAR. He had a 4.91 ERA over 146 and 2/3 innings, and his ERA plus was 84. That means he is, whatever percent. That's an average player is 100. Mm-hmm. His fielding independent pitching that year was a 4.26. If you look at his last 2 outings in Major League Baseball, he went 4 2/3 innings last year. In the one start he got, he gave up 4 earned runs on 6 hits with a home run and 6 walks. And in the game that he had on Friday, he gave up 6 earned runs on 8 hits through 3 2/3 innings with a home run and a walk. 4 strikeouts. Again, Matt Waldron did great in 2024 to help fill the gap for the Padres. He went on a nice little run where a lot of hitters had not seen a knuckleball in decades.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, it hasn't been very good in multiple outings. Now, I think you got to give him maybe 2 more starts to see if you can find something. And you know what? Maybe he goes out against Colorado and shoves and he feels more confident and the nerves are coming back for the first time. Fine. Like, you have to give him a chance to show improvement because Walker Buehler struggled early and Germán Marquez struggled early. But here's the difference, though.
I don't know if you have that much time.
They have the track record, though. They have the track record. And here's what it's going to come down to. If Griffin Canning and his clock is about to expire, Cinderella's little carriage is about to turn into a pumpkin on Griffin Canning's rehab assignment.
He has
to be added to the team. Somebody has to come off. And unless you put somebody on the IL, you're going to have to make a decision. And here's the thing, Frank. Matt Waldron getting hurt in spring training spared him the opportunity to pitch in the big leagues right now because I don't think he was going to make the team out of camp.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It just prolonged the inevitable, in my opinion.
Both he and Yuki Matsui, he being Griffin Canning, pronouns, pal, were both put on rehab assignment on the 4th. Pitchers have 30 days on rehab. So Waldron might only be getting this next start because they're off today. They're off on Friday. They're playing the 2-game series in Mexico City, and I believe they're off again next Monday as well. So he might not have the luxury of time.
And for here's the deal. For everybody saying you got to give the guy a lot of opportunities because Germán Marquez did, Griffin Canning's coming back, so who are you cutting? You have to part ways with somebody. Mm-hmm. Are you going to part ways with Marquez and Buehler and roll the dice that Waldron can make it through because of the feel and the nostalgia of 2024 where he got off to a great start, but then it slowly started to collapse on him in his last couple of starts? His second half of the season in 2024, he gave up at least 3 runs in every outing. He had a good outing against Cleveland where he gave up 1 earned run. They lost 7-0 that game. But in July of 2024 for Matt Waldron, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 1 earned run, 3 earned runs, 5 earned runs. Had a good outing against Colorado at home with 1 earned run, 5 earned runs, 7 earned runs, 10 earned runs, and then he finished the season with 5 earned runs. That's a tough stretch for the guy who has then added to that with his other 2 starts after the fact. I mean, you have seen what you're going to get out of Matt Waldron. And in 10 games in the second half of the 2024 season, which was his best year, remember? He was like the ace of the staff in the first half. Teams figured him out in July of 2024. And in those 10 games, Frank, he had a 7.30 ERA and 53 innings pitched.
He's going to get 2 more starts. He's going to get the finale in Colorado, and he's going to get the finale against the Cubs.
And those are going to be his starts to see if it's good enough to keep him on the team or if they're going to part ways with somebody else.
At
I
least-
mean, this is the decision you have to make with Griffin Canning coming back.
That's at least where he's projected to fall if the rotation stays the way it is.
Correct. I still think if you DFA Matt Waldron, he's going to be back in the organization. When we come back, we'll talk more about this and get your phone calls. Braden Surprenant Show. 11 o'clock on a Monday. Talk about the starting rotation after this weekend. I think you're getting a lot out of these players that you took chances on right now in the starting rotation with Herman Marquez, with Walker Buehler. I think Matt Waldron's going to get a couple of starts here, but here's the other thing that's going to be tough. The Padres play on the moon this week, and then over the weekend, next weekend, they play on Mars. Balls are going to be flying. Hopefully, that's going to be a tough week for the pitchers this week, I have to say. It's going to be a tough week for every starting pitcher this week, here and in Mexico City. There's going to be a lot of home runs. Hopefully, this is exactly what the offense needs to get some more power numbers up there and to get guys like Manny Machado going and guys like Fernando with more pop. I mean, I'm just going to warn everybody right now. Expect inflated starter numbers this week for all starting pitchers.
And I was wrong. They do play on Monday. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series against the Cubs. They're off on Thursday.
Did you say we're playing Tuesday or something?
Yeah, I thought they were off on Monday after the Mexico City series.
No, they're off before.
Yeah, they're off today and Friday. And I thought they were off the day after also, but they're not. They're off next Thursday when they wait for the White Sox to come in.
I can't believe here's another day where the Padres have an off day and the team they're playing is playing right today. Another wraparound series for teams. The Rockies are hosting the Dodgers for a fourth day here today on a Monday. There's no way teams like doing that. The 4-game series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Probably be a little bit easier for Colorado since their Tuesday game is in the same place as their Monday game. Probably not as big an issue as it was for Seattle.
Well, the Dodgers have Tuesday off now? I'm not going to stick up for anything the Dodgers get, but they go to San Francisco, I guess, Tuesday. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate. It's going to be unfortunate when the Giants are in last place. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I'm not a fan of anybody in the division, but I tell you what, having the Giants in last place behind the Rockies would make me LOL. I'd be all in favor of that, to be honest with you. Absolutely all in favor of that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Talking about the Padres. Start of the road trip. This is a long road trip for the Padres because of a couple of off days and traveling all over the place, including going internationally. We'll talk more about the Rocky series later on in the show. Again, they do not have a game tonight. The Padres, they will be back in action tomorrow. We'll talk more about what has happened over the weekend here in just a little bit. Do want to get to your phone calls, though. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I want to mention that everybody joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista, starting off the 11 o'clock hour. Kevin, what's going on?
How about those Padres break them up, right?
How about those Padres, Kevin? I mean, they're only a game off of the pace that they set last year through 22 games.
Yeah, you've got some of the major league podcasters out there. You know, there's a billion of them. I mean, this is the latest. It's like amoebas. They just rapidly multiply. But nonetheless, a lot of them are picking the Padres in the top 3 power teams in the major leagues right now. So that's not a bad start. That's okay. Getting back to Matt, you know, all Padre fans, and I think it's safe to assume everybody is cheering for this guy. He is a great competitor. You wish the best for the young man. However, as you have pointed out factually, and I'll take it one step further on the facts, this knuckleball routine doesn't work that well in the major leagues because at some point in time, you're going to lose location, and it's very much a location pitch to be even remotely effective. And the poor kid, he has tried to develop other pitches, but they are not nearly as effective to stay sustained at this level. So take it one step further. Try to name the top 5 knuckleball pitchers of all time in the major leagues and what kind of success did they have. The last I can recall was Tim Wakefield of the Red Sox. And, you know, Tim had an up and down career, but you're not going to go to the World Series with these guys. You're just not. And so I think that at best, like you said, I think we'll see Matt Waldron up here for a couple of starts, but it's in the front office's best interest at this point. They're going to have to look elsewhere for a legitimate, sustainable starting pitcher that can take you as far as you can into the playoffs and beyond, hopefully. I mean, that's the dream at this point. They've got to do this because you cannot continue to depend upon the health of what they've got, because that's shaky as it is. So that's how I see it at this point.
I look at this rotation, Kevin. I appreciate the phone call. I think a guy like Matt Waldron's got to get some spot starts for you. But here's the problem is he's out of options now. So it comes to the decision of how much, who are we going to keep out of the group? And to me, I just think I think money gets involved. I think who can avoid getting picked up by other teams gets involved. And right now, I think Waldron's the odd man out. I don't think Matt Waldron has pitched well enough in his last 12 starts in Major League Baseball. I mean, I talked about his last 10 starts in 2024. He only got one start in 2025, and he's gotten one start now in 2026. His ERA in those 10 starts, before we even talk about the fact that he gave up 4 runs in 2025 start and gave up 6 runs on Friday, his ERA was already a 7.3 something in his last 10 games. I don't think anybody's going to do that to take a chance on somebody. And if it is, it's not going to be somebody, it's not going to be a team that's very good, and you still have depth down in the minor leagues. And I agree with Kevin. I think a lot of people are rooting for Matt Waldron to have success. I am. I'd love to see him have success. But in the terms of who they have right now, and they have to make a decision before Griffin Canning is activated on this roster, and that's going to be sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, somebody's got to go. And right now, he's the odd man out. And I don't necessarily think he was going to make the team out of camp if he didn't get hurt anyway. I don't necessarily know that was the case. Was he going to make the team over Walker Buehler and Marquez? I don't think that was going to be the case, because I still think the Padres thought they could get a lot out of guys that have been proven veterans that, yes, haven't had as much success in the last couple of years, but they know what they were getting out of Matt Waldron for the last 4 years or whatever it's been with him in the system. They don't necessarily know what they were going to get out of Walker Buehler or Amon Marquez working with Ruben Niebla and the pitching program that the Padres have. So that's the decision that has to be made. It has to be made sooner rather than later. And if Matt Waldron does get another start, which it sounds like he might be scheduled to start in Colorado, and I think he deserves a couple more starts. I mean, having one is rough, but if that goes south also, there's only so many times as a team that is competing for a World Series and as a team that is, competing for a playoff spot, you can't keep rolling guys out there if they're going to be giving up crooked numbers all the time in the starting rotation. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Anthony in Escondido. Anthony, how's your Monday going, brother?
Hey, how's it going, you guys? Frank, I wish I saw you at the game on Friday. I was there also.
How long do you think calling on the Angels lasted on Friday, Anthony?
Honestly, I've gone to a few Angels games only because my girlfriend, she's an Angels fan. So we got the game we usually always go to every year. So, but what I wanted to lay in on was with the whole thing with Matt Waldron, because I remember with how we brought in Kyle Hart at the start. This is an idea, maybe him being as a reliever. If that doesn't work out, then obviously we would have to make a choice at that point. So
that's something that they could think about, Anthony. And I know a lot of people have brought that up. And it's a good suggestion, Anthony. I appreciate the phone call, man. My thing is can you afford, Frank, to bring in a guy that throws a knuckleball in relief with runners on base and you have no idea where the ball is going?
No.
Is that that sounds like a disaster. You would have to bring him in with a clean slate, right? I mean, because how many times in the recent years where did innings spiral out of control because you don't know where the knuckleball's going, it's hard to catch, and all of a sudden runners are advancing because the ball goes back to the backstop like you're watching Little League Baseball.
No, exactly. And we're seeing a lot of guys say that Waldron's not a knuckleballer. Part of the reason why you're seeing the knuckleball tumble is because he's focusing more on his other pitches and he's not focusing on mastering the knuckleball the way guys like Tim Wakefield and
R.A. Dickey.
R.A. Dickey won a Cy Young with the knuckleball, 20-game winner. So if he were, that's why we were saying he's not good enough to be a pitcher with a knuckleball. The knuckleball is such a specific annoyance of a pitch that you have to be putting all of your effort into throwing that knuckleball to make sure it's right, and then do what you have to do just to make sure you still have a feel for your other pitches. He's doing it the other way around. So Waldron, he's losing that knuckleball, and the knuckleball isn't as effective as it was because he doesn't want to be a knuckleballer. But I'm sorry, the rest of the stuff is just not good enough to hang around at this level.
I think it'd be different if he, started to dabble into the knuckleball, but like his stuff was elite to the point, like he had major league stuff, and that's why he got to the major leagues, and the knuckleball was secondary. I think a big reason why he got to the major leagues in that year when the Padres needed pitching in 2024, was the fact that he had a knuckleball. And I think it confused teams for a little bit because they hadn't seen it in a long time. And if you go through his baseball reference page, the first 10 games or whatever it was that he started in 2024, and teams were like trying to figure out the knuckleball, he was great.
Mm-hmm.
He got to play off of it. He threw it most of the time. And then in the second half of the season, they figured it out, and his ERA skyrocketed.
Jazz Chisholm on a podcast, I remember that, because he had pitched in New York. That Jazz Chisholm said he was the most difficult, the most annoying pitcher to face in the league. They had just played Miami. He was still with Miami at that time. So yeah, he was on it. He had it.
But the reality is if you don't have other elite pitches, what do you think they're going to spit on when it comes in? The knuckleball, right? And they're going to dare you to throw it for strikes. And you know what's hard to do? Consistently throw a knuckleball for strikes, because that thing's hovering all over the place. So if that's the only pitch, if you could just sit there and spit on it because he's not going to throw 3 of those for strikes, you can attack the other pitches that he does have to throw for strikes, and they're not as good of pitches to make guys miss. And that's the problem. So again, this isn't, I didn't want to make this an entire attack on Matt Waldron. He had a rough outing on Friday. Hopefully he bounces back and makes it a difficult conversation in terms of what they do when Griffin Canning comes off the injured list and is ready to pitch. But looking at all 3 of the pitchers that the Padres have, where 2 of them are going to stay on the team and 1 of them's going away, unfortunately for Matt Waldron. And here's the other thing too. He doesn't have time on his side like Marquez and Buehler have.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nick Pivetta going on the injured list bought them extra starts. Sometimes you don't get in life, sometimes you don't get the best opportunity. Sometimes you get 1 chance, maybe 2 if you're lucky. The timing for Matt Waldron and Germán Marquez has been more beneficial than it was for Matt Waldron. Unfortunately for Matt Waldron, he missed a lot of the time in spring training because he got injured. That's unfortunate, but that's also part of life. He didn't get a full fair share doing spring training, and as much as it's nice and it's kind and we want to be nice and kind and everything like that, it's Major League Baseball. You still got to win. And the Padres can't afford for him to try to figure it out for a month and take L's when he pitches, not especially when they already have a starting rotation that is a major question mark going into this year anyway. I mean, Buehler and Marquez have gotten better starts, but they're not going to be perfect. They're going to get a clunker in there, and what you can't do is have 3 clunkers in a row with Buehler, Marquez, and Waldron and go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak in the middle of the season, and then put more pressure on Vasquez and Michael King to kind of carry everything. You can't afford to have that. So there's tough decisions that need to be made. I'm sure Matt Waldron will get 2 more starts, I think almost guaranteed. It sucks that he might not get 5 starts like the other 2 got, but these are his opportunities to go out there and try to shine. And it's going to be he's got dealt a bad set of cards, Frank, because now he's got to try to do it at altitude.
Yeah, he had to do it. He had to do it on 2 days extra rest, 2 extra days of rest. Now he's going to Denver, and then he's got to face the Cubs at home. He really only gets one shot, and there's extra days off in between because there's off days. So it's, yeah, as Cole Brooks in the chat said, it's baseball.
That's baseball. It's life, you know. And I agree with one reason in the chat. If nobody got hurt, Waldron included, he probably doesn't make the team out of camp. He probably would have got DFA'd already, and he might have been in AAA and been ready to go if there was an injury. And here's the Matt Waldron pitched well enough at AAA to give himself an opportunity at the big league level. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Final call of this segment. Derek, what's going on, man?
What's going on, brothers? Beautiful day in San Diego. Say, Braden, I've got a trivia question for Frank. Frank, you ready?
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Frank, how many lives are cats said to have?
9.
That is correct, Frank. Coincidentally, that's the same number of home runs as Arson Fudge hit his 9th last night. Let's go, Pods. Hammer the Rockies. That's all I got for you, man. Have a great day.
Appreciate it, Derek. I kind of like this bit. This is kind of funny.
It's a Little League ballpark. I don't know what
here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Little League ballpark.
And that's not from me. And that's not from me. That was from
the Rockies broadcaster.
Yes, that is from Drew Goodman from last week.
Oh my God. Okay. I tell you what, when Derek said he was going to do that and call it every time that Aaron Judge hit a home run just to get back at you, first of all, I thought that was hilarious. The fact that it is creative as how many, I can't wait for the next, you know what? I can't wait for home runs by Aaron Judge now. This is hilarious. That was great.
It's fine. He's not going to.
Great execution by Derek.
Can I call him every single time he has a 4 strikeout game in the playoffs?
Go for it. Go have fun. You can call Derek if you want. You know what the playoffs are as a Mets fan at this point?
No.
Poor Frank. That was a pretty creative call. You have to get.
No,
Derek,
I'll give it.
That was pretty good.
It to you. Yeah,
that was
fine.
pretty good.
I'll give it to him.
How many lives does a cat say to have? 9. Well, funny because that's how many home runs that Aaron Judge has. Ayo. Hang up. That was well done. I guess you could call them the Quackers now. You know what? The way you could do every time that he calls, you got to remind him how many national championships his college football team has won. It doesn't take a lot. That's what the O in Oregon stands for. 0 natties. There you go. I got him back for you, Frank. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the ins and outs of yesterday's game for the Padres from a hitting standpoint, and what has been the biggest reason for success. We'll talk about it next on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Summer Sports Station 97.2 The Fan. 11:24 on a Monday. Victory Monday for the Padres. They improve now to 15-7 through their first 22 games of the season. That is just one game off the pace of what they did last year through 22 games. So that's great. Padres tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball with 15. They're tied with the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're a half game back of the Dodgers, who are playing today in Colorado for the fourth game of the 4-game series. Dodgers have already lost 2. Rockies will try to win a series over the LA Dodgers instead of splitting. Could you imagine? That'd be awesome, huh?
If only, if only.
If only, if only. Today will be Jose Quintana for Colorado going against Justin Robleski. How do we think this is going to go? Quintana's 0-1 with a 5.63 ERA. Robleski's 2-0 with a 2.12. Is this the first time Robleski's ever pitched at Coors Field, though?
Rockies win.
I'll take the Rocks.
You already have a final in Major League Baseball today.
Yeah, because today is the Boston Marathon Day. What do they call it? Boston Day or something?
I don't know.
What do they call Freedom Day or something? I forget what it's called. They wore like the Boston Strong jerseys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was like tradition. They always played the game.
Patriots Day.
Patriots Day. Yeah, Patriots Day. Did you see the? Oh, I already told you, but did anybody see the winning time for the men's professional division of the Boston Marathon? Insane, dude. The guy won the Boston Marathon today. 2 hours, 1 minute, 58 seconds. He ran 26.2 miles in 2 hours, 1 minute, and 58 seconds. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was watching that at the gym today. Talk about extra motivation. Seeing these guys like just human machines. And they were showing like how fast these guys were running for a marathon. I'm like, man, these guys are cooking. I don't even run that fast for like a mile. Be gassed.
Sonny Gray out with an injury too.
No, that's not great. All right, tonight's starting pitcher for LA is Justin Robleski. I'm just trying to see if he's ever pitched at Coors Field before. That could open up the door for the Rocks, you know? Trying to find ways for the Rockies to beat LA. Again, it's not about winning the division. You got to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough. It's about putting pressure on the Dodgers. You have to just continue to put pressure on them. That's the best. How about, did you see over the weekend, too, the Dodgers complaining about the Rockies swinging first pitch?
Yes, I did. Dalton rushing. That looks so weak, bro. Like, it looks so bad.
It's like, brother, what? Honestly. Like, that's what we're going with? I saw somebody in the comments, and did you see the comments?
No.
Some guy in the comments goes, somebody showed this to the Dodgers, and it was like percentage of first pitch swings, and the Rockies lead Major League Baseball on first pitch swings and at bats. It's like that's just what they do. But we're gonna since we lost, and there's no way we would ever lose because we're the greatest team to ever live. We got to say that something shady's going on with the Rockies beating us. I just thought it was fishy that they were swinging first pitch so early and often. Come on, bro. Just let the Rockies have their win. Let Dinger have a dub one time, man. One time. Robleski's pitched at Coors Field once. Or no, he's actually made 3 starts at Coors Field. He's got a 2.89 ERA at Coors Field. Wow, okay. He's got 9 innings there total. He actually has a save. But anyway, there you go. That's all you need to know. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about the Padres and the offensive side of things here in a second. But we do want to get to somebody that's probably fired up on a Monday, and that's Brandon in Carlsbad. Brandon, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, boys. Well, we can talk about Waldron. We can talk about Feliciano. We can talk about this beautiful winning streak that we're on with one little hiccup. We can talk about how we're going into Colorado, and we should be able to thump them too. And we can talk about the gripe about that, the reading of pitches in that LA-Colorado game or whatever that was. What I just like to say is I like where we're at. Okay? I remember calling in those first 2 home series of the season, and boy, San Diego County Friar Faithful, you should be ashamed of yourself, because look at us now. As we say, and we'll always say again, until it isn't, it's a long season. And now we know who the owner is, and now we're in a good spot, not only win column wise, but also, hey, with every pro, there is a con as far as like private equity groups owning teams. By the way, pros and cons, you guys, is the name of my podcast, so shameless plug. But love you guys. God bless. Let's go Padres. Let's keep stacking them up. Doesn't matter who the owner is or where we're at. Let's roll.
Sounds good, Brandon. He's fired up on a Monday. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, I saw so many like people. Like, remember the first week? And again, they could go on a losing streak just as long as this, and they could play 500 ball throughout the entire season because it is a long season. I will say that. They're 2-5 to start the year, Frank, and the sky is falling. I saw people tweet out like, "Mark my words, this is not a playoff team. They have no depth. They're terrible. They can't win. They're not going to win this many. They're going to win that many games. They're going to win like 70 games.
2-5 to start the year, right?
Yes.
You're 13-2 since then.
Correct.
13-2.
I mean, just look at their splits on their wins. They don't like playing in March, you know? If you look at the Padres, 14-3 in the month of April. That's absurd. And they got still a handful of weeks left in April. And you have the opportunity to even add more wins to your month of April and really give yourself a cushion, because it gets a lot harder for the Padres like in May and June. But overall, I mean, you look at the way this is where you stack up wins. And the Padres, I think overall, I don't think the Padres are getting lucky in terms of like how they're winning. I think they're playing good baseball. I really think they're playing good baseball across the board. But you look at some of the splits when it comes to wins and losses. Again, 14-3 in the month of April. They had a tough March. Obviously, I think they were 1-4 in March, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 1-4 in March. They scored 12 runs and gave up 25. In the month of April, they're 14-3 with 84 runs. They have a plus 30 run differential. Plus 30 run differential in the month of April with an .824 winning percentage. One game off the pace that they had last year at this time through 22 games. Through 22 games last year, they were 16-6. Through 22 games this year, they're 15-7. So they've been pretty good, and they've improved. They've gotten a lot better. Like I mean, how many years have we seen like the Padres are selling out games at Petco, and they haven't been able to play well at Petco? I mean, they're now 9-4 at home, and it's good to see them 6-3 on the road. Good teams usually win 2/3 of their games at home and then split on the road. And right now, they're 3 games above 500 on the road. I mean, they've played really good baseball on the road too. Overall, collectively, aside from maybe the back end of the starting rotation, which seems to be like a topic of discussion, there's not a lot to complain about with the way that the Padres team is playing. Now, is everybody playing at a high level? No, I think they're going to get better production out of guys like Jake Cronenworth and Manny Machado and a handful of teams or a handful of players on this roster. But I'll tell you what, they're still winning despite a lot of their stars not putting up good numbers. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Because when we come back, some of the biggest takeaways of the offense over the weekend: Machado hitting 186, Merrill's hitting 231, Tatis is hitting 253, still 0 home runs. But despite this, the Padres are winning close games through timely hitting, defense, and bullpen work. They have a recipe for success. We'll talk more about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. And coming up next in the noon hour, we're going to get a report on the San Antonio missions from Brian Jenselson. He will join us at noon here coming up in the next segment, see what's going on down in the minor leagues. We talked with Tim Haggerty last week about the El Paso Chihuahuas. So now we're going to be locked in on the San Antonio missions, which obviously has mostly like the big time prospect names in this organization. So we'll get an update on how guys like Ethan Salas are doing in San Antonio in just a little bit. All right, let's talk about the weekend in terms of the offensive side. We talked about obviously the pitching side of things. But if you look at this weekend, the Padres are 15, like just overall, they're 15-7. And they're tied with Atlanta for the second best record in Major League Baseball, tied for the most wins with Atlanta and the Dodgers for most wins in Major League Baseball. They've won 10 of their last 11, the Padres have, and 13 of the last 15. And the most striking part about all of this, the success is happening while their core four, Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., are collectively underperforming offensively. Now, I will say this. Xander Bogaerts is doing exactly what you would expect Xander Bogaerts to do. He's hitting, I got to go pull up the official numbers. He's hitting around 270. He's got around a 700 OPS. Like, that's kind of what you're paying for at this point in time for Xander Bogaerts at this point in his career. So he's really doing what he's supposed to be doing. So nothing too, he's doing his job, in my opinion. Xander's got a 0.3 WAR so far this year. He's hitting 266 with a 341 OBP. He's got a 746 OPS. He's got a positive OPS plus at 108. So he's doing what you expect him to do. It's really the other three that haven't been up to their highest level of potential. Machado's hitting a $186 with a 630 OPS. Jackson Merrill's off to a slow start, hitting 231 with a 667 OPS. Tatis at 253. He's got 10 hits in his last 26 at-bats. Still hasn't hit a home run in 2026. And despite this, the Padres are winning close games through timely hitting defense and bullpen work. Depth players are carrying this team right now. Bryce Johnson, 4 for 16, 3 stolen bases, a game-winning RBI yesterday. Xander Bogaerts had an RBI single in a key defensive play. And the quote from Manny Machado in yesterday's game was, "We're playing good ball, and we're not even on fire as a team offensively," which is 100% right. We can just imagine what we're going to do when we're rolling. A quote from Jackson Merrill in yesterday's game, after yesterday's game. It's a good sign when two guys in the lineup are not producing as much as the rest of the team, and the team is taking care of business. The defense has been, I think, an underrated strength to this team. They have not committed an error in 11 straight games, which is the longest streak since 2022. Merrill has robbed multiple home runs in the past week that were game-changing home run robberies, and opponents are just 12 for 19 on steal attempts against the Pods, top 5 in Major League Baseball at shutting down the run game. That's another area that we haven't talked too much about. We have complained about it a lot in recent years, Frank, about the caught stealing, but the catchers have done a pretty good job of throwing out runners, challenging ABS, and defensively, this team is playing good baseball just as much as they have taken care of the little things in other aspects as well.
Oh, they absolutely have. And a solid start for this team is what they needed after that rocky start. And they have completely turned it around from what they were at the beginning of the season.
Pitching and bullpen depth has been good. Michael King yesterday, 5 innings, 105 pitches, allowed 0 runs despite multiple jams, mostly because of walks. He's still working through mechanical issues, post-knee problems in 2025, but his ERA is 2.28. 16th in Major League Baseball, and he has excelled at damage control. Mason Miller, 8th save yesterday. 1 inning from tying the franchise scoreless innings record, 33 2/3 innings. Historic strikeout rate, 27 of 38 batters faced, 71.1% strikeout rate. He's been virtually unhittable. Bradley Rodriguez, who came in yesterday. He's a 22-year-old reliever and has emerged now as a high leverage guy. I mean, he came in a high leverage spot yesterday. 5 high leverage outs for after Adam and Morahone were unavailable. Bradley went in there and got it done. Fastballs touch 100 plus. He's got a plus changeup. Manager Craig Stammen called him elite and part of the bullpen long term. And as I saw a tweet earlier today about the Padres bullpen, somebody said, like, they're just spawning relievers. How do they get a guy named Bragley, who's 22 years old, who wasn't on any top prospect list, who's got a sub 0.8 ERA on the team? Where does this guy come from? Padres are great at creating bullpen arms like that. The Padres have now faced the 12th quality start against them this season, most of Major League Baseball. They're 6-6 in those games. League average winning percentage in quality starts is .294. You got to credit the offense for grinding at bats and the pitchers for keeping games close. I mean, they're finding multiple ways to win. And that's the best part because they're not playing at their best. Walbert Urania yesterday, 22-year-old Angels debut, dominated with 101 mile-an-hour sinkers and disappearing changeups. He allowed 1 run over 6 innings yesterday. Tatis and his hitting approach, he's leading Major League Baseball in hard hit rate, but focusing on right center instead of pull side power, which we talked about on the show last week, Frank. And hitting coach Steven Souza Jr. says Tatis can go oppo like Ohtani and Judge, and it makes him harder to game plan against, which I think will in turn lead to him pulling the ball more and getting that, those power numbers back that you would see. But he's doing a good job of spraying the field, and he's hitting the ball hard. I mean, the fact that he is near the top in hard hit rate in Major League Baseball, that is good news. Also a sign that he is still the same type of player he was in the past. Just because he's not putting up the ball over the fence doesn't mean he's not still an elite swinger at the plate.
Agreed. And we will talk about that a little bit later on. And for those of you in the chat wondering where the Jay Cronenworth conversation is, in due time. Patience, folks. We're not going to ignore him. Relax. But yeah, I mean, Fernando, again, as we've said with Xander Bogaerts last year, the metrics are there. The analytics are there to show that he's doing fine. He is okay. Just the results aren't there, and it's starting to get frustrating, I'm sure, for you fans watching. But still, I mean, I would like to see a little bit more pull side from Fernando, because that's where he's getting what appears to be getting a little bit more pop and power. But other than that, I mean, he's not in the I'm worried about him just yet category.
No, he's hitting the ball well. Griffin Canning could rejoin rotation first week of May, which, as we talked about with our conversation with the back end of the rotation, Waldron's got 2 starts. He's got 2 starts to show why he deserves to be on the Major League club. I think we're in agreement on that one, Frank.
Yep.
At this point in time. Yeah, because and unfortunately for Matt Waldron, that's the clock he's given because Griffin Cannon's coming back.
Yeah, exactly. That's not 3 because he deserves 3 starts only. It's 3 because that's all time is going to allow for him.
Overwhelming Padres fans at Angel Stadium again. That was cool. Got that report out of Kevin Acee in his newsletter. Streaks 19 straight games, at least 1 extra base hit for the Padres. That's tied for 4th longest in Major League Baseball. Key takeaways from the weekend. Padres are winning with depth, defense, and bullpen excellence while waiting for the superstar core to wake up. That, to me, Frank, is a sign of a good team. Yeah. It's not a boom or bust team. They're finding different ways to win. They're getting contributions from everybody on the roster. And for so long, this has been a team of where Manny goes, this team goes. Manny's not playing well. Offensively, team's still winning despite that. I think that shows a sign of how this team has been constructed, the talent that they have on this team, and just how well they've been playing together. And that's a big reason why they have had a lot of success. I mean, it's definitely sustainable in the short term, but over the 162-game season, they're going to need their stars to star. And that was a big problem last year. That was a big conversation going into this season. And the early success is giving them a margin for error in building confidence because, as we mentioned before, we'll take a look at the schedule later on. May and June are a little bit more difficult in terms of the schedule than right now. And you got to take advantage of being able to play the Rockies this early in the season. You got to take advantage of beating up on the Angels 2 out of 3. It's going to be a tough series against the Diamondbacks when you play at a high altitude place where the ball is going to fly. That's going to be a tough 2-gamer. But I think you're getting the Cubs at the right time, too. Like, they've kind of struggled out of the gate also. So it's not who you play, it's when you play them, and you got to take advantage of those opportunities, and we'll see if the Padres can do that this week. Without further ado, we do have to get to today's sports thread. What else is going on in sports? We got playoff hockey, we got playoff basketball, lots of other things going on in the sports world besides baseball.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got going on today?
We've got a good amount of stuff
Number 1.
going on today. My headset has been ridiculously loud today, and it's no louder than it normally is. The NCAA Football Oversight Committee has recommended shifting the college football season to start the Thursday of week 0 beginning in 2027.
That's at the second to last week of August or something?
Shifting the college football season start to the second Thursday why can't I read?
English are hard.
Yeah, exactly. Has recommended shifting the college football season to start the Thursday of week 0 beginning in 2027, creating a longer 14-week schedule for 12 games that would guarantee 2 bye weeks and potentially open the door for future college football playoff expansion. The move is being framed as a player health and flexibility measure while also eliminating earlier start waivers and preserving key standalone dates like conference title games and the Army-Navy game. Is this really about player safety, or is it a quiet step towards an even bigger and longer college football playoff?
They're going to expand to the college football playoff, and they're going to sell this as player safety for the long run. That's probably what the plan's going to be. They're not doing this strictly for player safety. It is a bonus that it might actually help the players out because now they get 2 bye weeks. That's essentially what they're going to do. They're going to keep the 12 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually lop off the conference championship games too. But this is for like extending the season in terms of playoff games. Those make more money. Shocker. I remember arguing that with people for a long time that you're going to make more money doing playoff games than anything else. But I don't mind it. I mean, by this time of the year, like high school football is starting earlier and earlier. And so for everybody that's like, oh, it's so hot. It's like, yeah, it's hot everywhere. These guys are all practicing outside anyway. Like it's hot. You know, it's going to be hot. But instead of starting Labor Day weekend, they start the week before. And if that was this year, it would be August 27th to be the first game. I already have my football schedule for the season. And in August, we have our scrimmage on August 13th. And our first game is August 20. Our week 1 for the high school football season is August 21st. So they're essentially going to be starting the football season for college football week 2 of the high school season. I'm okay with that. Okay? I think it's fine. Is it for player safety? No. But they're going to expand the playoff eventually. The Big Ten wants 24 teams in it. They're going to get to that number eventually. They want to spread it out for some of these schools that have to play a lot of games. And it is a plus for them that you get 2 byes. There it is.
There you go.
Number 2.
A judge has granted Owen Henneke an extra year of eligibility in 2026, delivering a legal setback to the NCAA after ruling it failed to properly evaluate his unique case stemming from a brief stint with Ohio State Buckeyes lacrosse. The former walk-on turned standout linebacker for the Oklahoma Sooners can now return for a 5th season after emerging as a key defensive piece in 2025, highlighting the growing trend of athletes using the courts to challenge eligibility decisions. Are rulings like this fair corrections for players, or is the NCAA losing control of its eligibility system entirely?
How old is this kid?
I'm not sure.
Honestly. All right, so he's... You say he's going to play football or he's going to play lacrosse? Is it a lacrosse situation?
He is going to play linebacker for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Okay.
But I think they said they're giving it back because he played a couple games for Ohio State lacrosse.
Gotcha. So they ruled that he can have another year of eligibility. They ruled that he can't have the.
They ruled that he can have a year of eligibility
because
he was
they're not going to count. They're not going to count
year.
the 2 games that he played for lacrosse or something.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Until they can make up rules in which judges don't immediately shoot down. None of this really matters to me because the NCAA doesn't have any power over anybody because none of their rules are legal in the court of law. And as long as people are willing to sue the NCAA for legalities of this without a collective bargaining agreement, without antitrust law exemption, it doesn't matter. They're just going to continue to find judges that will rule for the NCAA while people continue to find judges that rule for them. This just seems to be the growing theme here with this conversation of college athletics. That's why I like the idea of 5. You have 5 years. Everybody's got 5 years. They're 19. Figure it out.
It's funny. I can't find a birthday for Heineke anywhere.
Wow. Maybe it's actually 28. Who knows? Get an update on the San Antonio Missions and some of the top prospects of the Padres. How are they doing so far down in San Antonio when we come back?
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour of the Fan is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Sereno Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at? Need some tacos. I might have to get some tacos this week. Might drive up to Coachella Valley this weekend. Get some tacos on the way up. That's not a bad lunch idea on the way up to Stagecoach.
Might not be a bad lunch idea on Thursday either, because we've got like a 20-minute show.
Well, Thursday we also get Epic Wings too. Are we doing the
Yeah.
roundtable Thursday? I would imagine we're doing the roundtable Thursday.
I would have to assume.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would have to assume, since it's before when it used to be.
Hang on a second. How long is our show on Thursday? It's like an hour, right?
No,
It's
not
not?
even. It's like 40 minutes.
It's a 40-minute show. What time's the game start? 12:10, 11:10 pregame?
No, I think it's hold on, let me see.
It's a 12:10 start. So they have 11:10 pregame on.
Yeah, so we got an hour show.
An hour show. Oh man, that would have been nice. That would have been in back in the day, it would have been just the round table.
I thought it was a 40 start, honestly. I thought it was like a 11:40.
No.
Why
Colorado's on Mountain Time, so like all their stuff is like ours. It's just an hour.
No, I know
difference.
that. Yeah,
So they go 5:40 because it's 6:40 there, and then they go 1:10 afternoon start, and we get 12:10.
Yeah. Okay. Mhm.
Shout out to the round table for inspiring me to get some epic fries. You are welcome, Juan. You are welcome. I just have to say, marketing is working. Get yourself some epic chicken fries. All right, enough of that. We got to get to our guest today. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Down in San Antonio. They got good tacos down there. Is it as good as San Diego? You know what? I've been down there. It's been pretty good. There's a place called they're called Mi Tierra that's pretty good. But down in San Antonio, AA San Antonio for the Padres is their broadcaster, and Brian Yanselson. He joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline to tell us what's going on in AA San Antonio. A lot of big prospects down there for the Padres. Let's get an update. Brian, what's going on? How's your Monday?
It's going great. Thanks for having me. Always love chatting with you guys.
Good to chat with you as well, to give us an update on what's going on in the world of the San Antonio Missions. One of the longest running partnerships for the San Diego Padres. Took a little bit of a break there for a second, but then came back to Padres minor league affiliation not too long ago. Missions off to a 4-11 start. Obviously, the minor leagues, a lot of it's more about development than anything else. But in the first 15 games, what's the report on how the Missions are doing as a team?
Yeah, you said the record, and obviously that is going to stand out to the casual observer from just looking at it and saying, oh, what's going on in San Antonio? But honestly, we just got back from what was a tough trip to Midland. The Rockhounds, who are the Athletics AA affiliate, they are loaded with talent and just a very good team. So you have to look a little deeper, and what Padres fans would be excited about is that the top prospects that we have, they are performing. I think, no one can talk about the Missions even here in San Antonio without necessarily all being Padres fans, without asking about Ethan Salas and what he's doing, or if he was going to be back, or how he was doing last year when he got hurt. But he is back, and he looks really good. The numbers may not stand out when you look at the 237 average, hasn't hit a home run quite yet, but you look at the swings and you look at how he is carrying himself. He's still just 19 years old, but he's so mature, and he's playing looser, in my opinion. I've been here now the entirety of his time with San Antonio, the different spurts that he's had. And at first, he was very serious, very cautious, and you could feel that he felt the expectations on him, but he just seems like he's having more fun. He seems like he's looser, and that is starting to come through in his play. He just had a 4-game hit streak, which was snapped in Midland, but he looks really good. And then Miguel Mendez, our next top prospect, the number 3 overall for the Padres, he looks phenomenal. He has only allowed 2 runs in his 3 starts. He just came off an impressive performance against a Midland offense that is very talented, and he is racking up the strikeouts. He touched 100 miles an hour 8 different times, and I'm not used to having to count that when I'm watching a pitcher, but that's how electric he's been. So even though the record is not where the Missions want it, Salas and Mendez are 2 top prospects, and the Padres' top prospects. They are doing what they need to do to make a good impression.
Let's talk more about Ethan Salas. I mean, obviously the glove is like well above where he should be at age 19, and there's no question about how he commands a pitching staff. You know, his defensive skills. I mean, everything like that has been top notch, and we hear a lot about it. But from an offensive perspective, and you mentioned it, no, he's putting together better swings, but his numbers are not jumping off the page. He's still only 19 years old. I mean, he is, way younger than everybody else that he's competing with. But what were some of the goals that he might have mentioned, or what are some of the things that the Padres kind of want to see out of Ethan Salas that he's been working on from an offensive perspective that's going to get him promoted to the next level?
Well, something that's been a really interesting development is he's hitting leadoff for San Antonio. And I talked to him about this the other day. He's never really hit leadoff before. He didn't expect it. It wasn't a conversation that was had with him. He was just penciled into the lineup there one day, and he has led off ever since for about a week now. That whole series in Midland, he was at the top of the order. And you can see a definite focus on hitting the ball the other way. I can probably count on one hand the times he's pulled the ball that his best hits have been a double down the line. A couple of days ago in Midland, he drove in a run. It was shot down the third baseline. There was nobody over there. And just swing after swing, sending it the other way. He went 0 for 4 2 nights ago. It was on Saturday night. And 3 of the ground outs were 95 or above off the bat. And it was just directly to shortstop or made a terrific play with, ironically enough, Leo DeVries robbing him of a couple of plays. But one of those was 105 off the bat. I remember it very vividly because you kind of mark it down to say, okay, it wasn't a hit, but the approach is there, the effort is there. So I would say the leadoff is definitely an interesting thing that clearly they have something in mind of getting him more at bats and giving him the opportunity to get on base, and then hitting the ball the other way is what has stood out in terms of his approach at the plate.
Let's talk a little bit more about like him being a lot younger than everybody else. I mean, you and I have been saying it, but for the people driving around listening, this is his age 20 season. He is currently 19 years old. And for people that might not know, I mean, they just look at the minor leagues and it's like, oh, they got a lot of young guys, and baseball players get drafted out of high school in the United States, and a lot of international guys get signed at a young age. But for Double-A, Brian, what is the average age of most of the players that play Double-A baseball, professionally here in the United States?
Yeah, no, he is 100% younger than everybody he's facing, especially on the mound. We just saw Leo DeVries. He's also 19, but that's very rare. Every pitcher he's facing is older, and I would say the average is 24, 25. If you look at our team, he is far and away the youngest. Victor Lizárraga, he's 22, and he's the next closest, and Ethan, you would never know it. That's what's really the most impressive thing about him. So mature for his age, the way he carries himself, the way he leads the pitching staff. He picks really good moments to go out there at the catcher position to have a conversation with his pitcher, settle things down. You can just see it. And the leadership is also there. We have a catcher, Chris Sargent Jr., who went from independent baseball to the Double-A level. And then we also have a catcher on the development list that's with the team. And the other day I was just sitting by the dugout, and Ethan is working with our manager, Chris Tremy, who was a big league catcher himself. And Ethan is leading the drill and helping Chris and Jake Bold with different technique and showing him things that he used to do growing up, learning from his dad. And so to remember that he's 19, he's barely had experience at the professional level, but he's carrying that torch of I'm a leader, I'm looked up to, and it is definitely shining through. So you would never know his age by looking at him. And it is very impressive when you look at other teams' rosters, knowing that he will probably not face a pitcher that is younger than him all year. It is all veteran guys at the AA level. And when I talk to scouts or people around the game, they say that jump from high A to AA still remains the difference maker. You know, people can get to AA, but that's often where they stall out. That's where the real separation begins. And so he's going to get the opportunity to have a full year here in San Antonio, more likely than not, and continue to prove that he can make it. But in terms of his leadership and already seeming like a veteran, it's 100% there.
We're talking with Brian Yanselson. He's the play-by-play man of the San Antonio Missions. Give us an update on AA San Antonio for the San Diego Padres in terms of their farm system. We talked about the Chihuahuas last week, talking about the Missions this week. So we talked a lot about Ethan Salas. You mentioned Miguel Mendez. He is the third overall prospect for the San Diego Padres, a right-handed pitcher in AA. We've seen a lot of the Padres we've seen the Padres make a lot of moves with pitchers coming up from AA and making the jump to the big leagues. Obviously, pitching the PCL is a little bit different than pitching in the Texas League. But what have we seen early out of Miguel Mendez, for the Padres' number 3 prospect?
It's been absolute fire. That's the word to describe it, with the velocity that he is reaching. Last year, sitting mid to high 90s, eventually touching, 97, 98, but that was it. This last start, he hit 100 miles an hour 8 different times. And when he wasn't at 100, he was at 99, 98, the entire start. He went 5 innings against Midland, and it looked easy. And he paired it with a really good slider that worked especially well against right-handed hitters. So those are the 2 pitches that are really working for him. I would say the biggest goal for him and everyone around him is helping him develop that 3rd pitch and making it even nastier. He has a changeup that he uses every now and then, but it's not quite as consistent. But when it comes to the 2 pitches that he has mastered, the fastball and the slider, it is definitely there. He's still very young, relatively inexperienced, so I would expect him to be with us for a while. But of course, you never know. Last year, our 2 best pitching prospects, Braden and Henry Baez, I remember talking to you in July, and they were gone a couple of weeks later in a trade, and now they're in the Athletics organization. So you never know what their plans are, but Miguel has looked very impressive to start the year. Sat down with him after his start in Midland and kind of chatted with him, and he said that being at big league spring training really helped him out, just being around the guys and the stars and understanding what it takes to get to that level. And he credited just work on hitting the zone and really letting the other team beat your best stuff. Because I was asking him about his velocity and where that came from. And he said he's decided to say, look, if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me with my best stuff the entire time. And that means my highest velocity with the fastball. And here, try to hit it. And Midland couldn't. Nobody has been able to so far in 3 starts. He faced Tulsa, and he also faced Corpus Christi. And so he looks like someone that when he goes out there, we have a chance to win. And that says a lot about him already at this stage.
We're talking with Brian Yanselson, who is the play-by-play man of the San Antonio Missions, as we get an update on what's going on in AA San Antonio. Obviously, we talked about this last year. I mean, AJ Preller at a trade deadline is a scary time in the minor leagues for the San Diego Padres, because a lot of guys are definitely moving all over the place. Who are some of the names that we haven't talked about that Padres fans should be paying attention to, either for call-ups or, they've been playing really well, they might, earn their spot as somebody on maybe another organization via trade? Who are some of the maybe a little bit of surprising starts to the year that Padres fans could be excited for?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really funny that you mentioned the whole trade. I know I just brought it up as well, but I was thinking back to our conversation a year ago, and when you asked me this question, I said Brandon Valenzuela, and now he's in the big leagues with the Blue Jays after a trade, but was proud of being able to say that, and just so proud of him, somebody who spent so much time in San Antonio, really great guy, and now he is shining at the big league level just with another team. And I would say this year, apart from Salas and Mendez, a couple names that have really started to stand out. Carson Tucker. I don't know how much Padres fans know about him or have heard of him because he's brand new to the organization, but he was the Cleveland Guardians' first pick in 2020, first round pick in the 20s. And he was in the organization a couple of years, never really caught fire, struggled with injuries, and just never put a season together. If you look at his numbers, you can kind of see that it never was fully there for him. And Cleveland ended up releasing him in 2023, and he actually left the game for a little bit, didn't come back until 2025 in the Pioneer League, played for the Ogden Raptors, actually the same team as Chris Sargent Jr., who's now on our team as well. And the Padres took a flyer on him, signed him to a free agent contract ahead of this year, and he looks incredible. He just snapped an 8-game hit streak to start the season. On Sunday afternoon, he didn't get a base hit, even though he hit 105 to Leo DeVries and was robbed. But before that, a hit in every single game that he had played in. He's played at third base, shortstop, and second base, looked amazing defensively, even was thrown out in right field for an extra inning game after he came in as a pinch runner. And he had one of the best plays of the young season already. Runner on third, nobody out in that extra inning situation, caught the ball and threw out the runner trying to score from third, an absolute bullet. So he has shown versatility defensively. He has done well everywhere he's played, and he has hit the ball. He is hitting line drive after line drive, mostly to the opposite field. Hasn't shown the power necessarily. He's got a double that was on a line drive the other way, hasn't pulled much and not a lot in the air, but it's just line drive off his bat that you can tell he's locked in, and he's having a lot of fun. Gotten to talk to him around the cages and look forward to having even more conversations with him. But if you look at Cleveland, they're usually a team that drafts really well and develops really well. And so for them to have taken him in the first round back in 2020, clearly they saw something. Now, obviously that was the pandemic draft. A lot of things went sideways, but he is being given another opportunity. And so far he has made it worth it. He's hitting 344, highest on the team. And in almost 30 fewer at-bats than the next closest guy, he's tied for second most hits on the team because he still hasn't quite played every day, but now he's forcing himself into the lineup. And this Sunday afternoon, he was leading off actually against Midland. And so Carson Tucker has been the name that I would keep an eye on just because of the talent clearly being there, being a first round talent. Now, after all those years out of the game, will he be able to keep it up? And then you look at our bullpen. I think that is always where Padres fans need to keep an eye. Last year, we had David Morgan and Bradley Rodriguez get called up directly from us in the AA level. So you look at someone like Harry Gustin, a left-handed reliever. He's only allowed 1 run so far in 7 innings of work. He has struck out 9. He looks so calm and collected out there, like nothing could bother him. It makes sense. He's from Colorado, and he also went to school in Hawaii. So you can tell that he's very peaceful and chill out there. But he's got a lot of talent. And then Francis Pena, someone who a couple of years ago was a candidate to get called up straight from us, went to AAA, had a full year there with the Chihuahuas a year ago, has kind of dropped in velocity a little bit. So they brought him to San Antonio to work on some things, but he has looked really good as well. Only allowed a run. The walks have been an issue, but if he can get that under control, I think he's another name to keep an eye on for sure.
Brian, we appreciate the time. Sounds like you got a fun week at home against Amarillo this week, against the Sod Poodles, little Padres former AA affiliate with the current AA affiliate. That was also the former AA affiliate. So fun little series this week against Amarillo. Have a good call this week. Look forward to talking to you next month.
Thank you so much. It's a great time to be in San Antonio. The Spurs are rolling. The Missions are back at home. And so we look forward to being back in a month with some more exciting updates.
Thank you very much. Brian Yanselson, the play-by-play man of the San Antonio Missions, giving us an update on what's going on down there. And again, like when we go through this with all of the minor league teams, you know, the Missions aren't off to that great of a start in terms of their overall record, but some good reporting on individual players. Sounds like Ethan Salas is getting off to a pretty good start. And again, he is, like, according to Baseball Reference, he is 5 years younger than the average player in AA. That's everything you need to know about that. When we come back, all right, we'll talk about it. Kristen Script Ranch was right. We kind of briefly talked about it on Friday, didn't get to a deeper dive. People want us to talk about what we have seen out of Jake Cronenworth. We'll have that conversation when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Settings Number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Another big thanks to Brian Yanselson for joining us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. We are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Did you fix your camera yet? What happened with your camera?
I have no idea.
It just went out.
The side laptop just had a meltdown just before we had Brian come on. I just restarted, so we're all good now.
I like doing those updates. It kind of, I think it gives people, Padres fans, perspective of what's going on in the lower levels. And again, with the lower levels, like, you don't really care if they're winning or not because it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that it's kind of like spring training. Like, obviously, those guys want to win, and it's better to win than it is to lose. But you're hoping for the best of development from a lot of these players. And so far, sounds like, Ethan Salas is doing pretty well so far to start the year. His numbers are okay, but he's fighting, getting back to playing after being out for almost all of last year. So he's healthy. He's playing a lot. He's getting some leadoff at bats. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're batting him leadoff just so we can get him as many at bats as possible.
That's kind of where I'm thinking it.
I don't
They're
think
trying
they're like
to get him as
training
much
him
work
to
as
be
possible.
to be a leadoff guy. I think they're trying to move him up the deal as quickly as possible. So we will keep you updated on that at least once a week. Are we going to have the tin caps on next week or the storm?
Yeah, we're going to have the tin caps on next week. At least we're planning on that for next Tuesday. We're going to try to do these on Monday since it's Monday's their minor league day off. But you won't be here next Monday. So we're
going with Scraby. It's fun.
We're going to try. So we'll do that. We're going to try to do that next week, and then we'll have the Lake Elsinore Storm on the week after that, and then we'll bring it back around to AAA.
Good stuff. All right, let's break down Jake Cronenworth a little bit. Okay, so we talked about his swing. Now, here's the other thing too. I kind of wanted to get an update on like his weekend. I mean, it was okay. Like again, it looks like you actually got to see it a couple of times on his on his uppercut swing. But we talked about Jake Cronenworth last week, earlier in the week, about his early season issues in 2026, right? So if you roll up his like baseball savant page and kind of look at the details of this, Jake has been having some issues with the start to the season. But what I said on the air was based on his metrics of swing speed and based on his metrics of his expected numbers, he'd be getting some bad luck and it should be turning for the better, in which Chris and Scripps Ranch called in and talked about how, what were the numbers that was the case. And I said, well, they got the expected numbers are higher than what his actual numbers are, which shows that he should be getting a little bit more reward for what he has been doing. In which Chris then talked about how his uppercut swing is causing some issues. So we took a deeper dive into that uppercut swing. And we're going to talk about how he did over the weekend here in a second. But just kind of to recap, because this is going to be a two-part conversation. Jake Cronenworth's swing issues in 2026 and this does not include this weekend's stats, but it boiled down to a clear mismatch between what his swing is trying to do and what actually works against non-fastballs. His bat speed is up, which is good news. 71.8 miles an hour overall, career highish mark. That's awesome. It's a positive. But everything else in the swing path and timing has gone off the rails on breaking balls specifically and off-speed pitches, which is approximately 33% of what he sees. This is killing his quality of contact and overall production. So if you look at the data-backed breakdown, and the data that we're talking about is you go to his baseball savant page, and when you scroll down, there's a graph that says, Jake Cronenworth, whatever, of the last handful of years. We are looking at all of his swing metrics. So it's average bat speed, his attack angle, his ideal attack angle percentage, his average attack direction, his swing path tilt length, and then his average intercept of the ball on his X and Y axis. So those are the charts that we are personally looking at. You don't need to be an expert on those charts, but that's what we're looking at on his baseball savant page. And this is what it's telling us. It's honestly telling us exactly what Chris and Scripps Ranch's eye test told him. Now, Chris and Scripps Ranch had a pretty good Major League Baseball career. Played in the big leagues for, I think, 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. He is he's a guy that has been in the box before and understands how difficult it is to hit at a major league level. So when we're looking at that details of his career baseline, really. So looking at his numbers from 2015 to present, career numbers going into the weekend. Expected batting average 247, his expected slug is 405, and his expected on-base average, weighted on-base average is 327. All, okay numbers. Hard hit percentage, 35.9%. Barrel percentage, 6.6%. Sweet spot percentage, 34%. His average launch angle, 14.5 degrees, and a ground ball rate of 41.2%. So what those numbers tell you, he's a solid contact guy with good plate discipline. I don't think anybody really disagrees with that. Not a huge power guy, but consistent line drive and gap production. That's what his career numbers tell you. So far this year, it paints a little bit of a different story. His numbers in terms of his expected numbers are all down from what his career baseline numbers are. The actual results are way below expected. His hard hit percentage is slightly below. His barrel percentage is way lower than his career baseline. And his sweet spot percentage also a low. In fact, all three of those numbers for Jake Cronenworth are all career lows. His launch angle is cut in half. It's a 7.8 degree launch angle, which that is the angle of the ball after he makes contact. It's a huge drop. And his ground ball percentage, his career percentage is 41.2%. I mean, 41.2% of the balls he puts in play are on the ground. This season, it's 54.5% going into the weekend. Whiff percentage is up, way up from his career numbers. His chase rate is up. I mean, all of the metrics that you don't want to see Going up or going up for Jake Cronenworth? He's hitting fastballs fine, but breaking balls and off-speed pitches have been disasters for Jake. And what the charts show is wrong with the swing. The problems are almost entirely on breaking and off-speed pitches, where his fastball metrics have stayed relatively stable. When we come back, we'll take a deeper dive into how his swing on his uppercut swing is leading to a lot of problems and why this is happening and why he's not hitting well. We continue that conversation with Jake Cronenworth when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. We have 4 segments left. Wow. Show's flying by. All right. We're taking a deep dive into Jake Cronenworth's swing here. Now, I have gotten the numbers from this weekend for Jake. So here are the season numbers that we're going to talk about, and we're going to dive into what he did this weekend in terms of his April trends for his swing metrics. Now, if you go on Baseball Savant, you can see all these charts. They have swing metrics for every year. They have swing metrics for just this season. They go game by game. I mean, there's a lot of swing metrics. And by the way, as I have said before, for people that are driving around like, how do the Padres not know that? The Padres know this, okay? They are going a little bit more detailed than we are. Just trying to give you a perspective of why Jake Cronenworth's numbers are a little bit off. And I think a lot of it has to do with his depth on the swing path and it being a more higher on the list in terms of like his attack angle and everything. So here's what the charts are saying that is wrong with his swing. His attack angle has been way too steep on secondary pitches, and that's where he's really had the least amount of success. His attack on fastballs has been fine. But the problem is he's not seeing fastballs anymore. He's seeing a lot of off-speed pitches because teams are seeing him swing like this. The attack angle has become way too steep on secondary pitches, 21 degrees on average. Now, the ideal range is approximately 5 degrees of your attack angle. That's your swing to the ball. An ideal range is 5 degrees to 20 degrees. He is averaging 21 degrees in 2026. That's on breaking balls and off-speed pitches. The ideal attack angle percentage has collapsed for Jake Cronenworth. Off-speed is down to 27%, which was 47% in 2025, breaking to 40%. And the result of that is, even though the bat is coming up steeply, he's producing a 7.8 degree launch angle and tons of topped, weak contact. He's swinging under the ball on pitches that break down instead of meeting them on the plane. That's why he's had so much struggle with off-speed pitches this year. Now, his swing length has exploded on non-fastballs. Off-speed, 8.3 feet, longest of any track season. Breaking balls, 7.9 feet. Longer swing equals more time to the ball, which equals harder to adjust to velocity and shape changes. This directly feeds the next issue for Jake, which is timing is late on breaking and off-speed pitches. Extreme opposite field contact. His attack direction, negative 17 degrees on both breaking and off-speed pitches, and his career average is mildly pull-sided overall. This is the clearest sign of being late on a baseball, and the bat is coming around way behind the ball. Intercept point has shifted dramatically outward, the intercept Y versus batter graph on the Baseball Savant. Breaking and off-speed is now approximately 42.5 versus 34 to 36 in earlier seasons where he had more success. His fastball intercept point has stayed approximately 25.5, but it's made a lot of sense because he hasn't really changed his swing too much on the fastball. It's the other pitches that have gotten him. Mechanically, contact is happening much further to the outer lateral side of his body on secondaries. Hands aren't getting inside the ball, and he's reaching or pulling off. The bat speed is actually better. So this is not a lost pop situation for Jake Cronenworth. This is a swing mechanics. All pitch types are up. Fastball, approximately 71 miles an hour on his swing speed. Breaking ball pitches are coming in. His swing speed at 73.5 miles an hour. Off speed, 72.5. The power is still there in raw terms for whatever power that he had before, but it's not translating because the path of the bat and the timing's off. And from spring training reports, Cronenworth was intentionally working on swing changes, more bat speed, better lower half balance, and trying to elevate more. Well, and he wanted to create lower ground ball percentage, even an opposite field home run in camp this year. But the intent was to get back to his 2020-2021 power version. But in season, it has started to backfire on secondary pitches because the swing has gotten longer and steeper, exactly when he needs to be short and adjustable. The results show that he's late under the ball contact on anything that moves, which leads to ground balls, topped balls, weak fly balls, and whiffs. Is that not what we've seen, Frank, out of Jake Cronenworth so far this season?
Yeah, and it looked really pronounced. Seeing it from the angle that we were at in the Angels booth, it was really pronounced. He's really coming up and trying to swing under it.
Fastballs he could cheat on a little bit, still pulls them at approximately 8 to 9 degrees on the tack direction, but breaking and off speed expose the longer bat path. That's why he has, I don't know, seen a lot of what, Frank? Breaking and off speed pitches. Small sample noise exists this early. I mean, only 44 batted balls going into the weekend, but the pitch type splits and swing metric trends are consistent with what the charts show from 2023 to 2026. The changes have been progressive and are now at their most extreme this season. Nothing is fundamentally broken about his athleticism or the bat speed. Those are actually improved, surprisingly enough. The swing mechanics have simply become mismatched for secondary pitches. He's trying to lift more, but the longer steep path is causing him to miss under breaking balls and off speed instead. Until he shortens the swing or flattens the path on those pitch types, or pitchers stop throwing them as much, which I doubt that will be the case, ground ball heavy, low launch, low production profile will continue for Jake Cronenworth. Now, let's take a look at this weekend. Bat speed, again, has been great. Like, the April trend for Jake Cronenworth's bat speed, highly volatile, but consistently elevated versus career. He is seeing a spike in his bat swing in terms of his speed. Early April had more 68 to 72 mile an hour games. Mid to late April trended higher versus career. Every game except a couple of outliers is above his 2023-2024 norms, which confirms that the intentional multi-year bat speed gain. So he's actually gaining velocity on his bat speed. And last week, from April 13th to the 19th, was actually his strongest stretch of the month in terms of bat speed. Off speed peaked at 78 miles an hour on his swing against off speed pitches, which is highest reading in all of April, before settling at 76.5 miles an hour. When he swung at breaking balls, 76 plus miles an hour multiple times. Fastball stayed relatively the same. But this is the clear positive. This is why he's not like cooked. You know what I'm saying? This is why his ability is there. He just needs to figure out, he has to figure out the swing path. So I think that sign, Frank, from those numbers are encouraging that his bat speed is actually there and improving. That's the good news.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. It's what he's doing. Now,
Correct.
I don't understand why it goes around every now and again what Pete Rose, when he was on MLB, what he said about when a hitter gets into a slump. You don't change your swing. Your swing got you to the big leagues, so you don't change your swing. I don't understand why these players are so open to people changing their swings. I understand that there might be some things that you're doing that you maybe have gotten past. If you have a hitch in your swing, maybe there's a way that you still got into the majors, and your hitting coach or whoever is trying to help you smooth it out to help progress you. But to change your swing entirely, to try to become a player that you're honestly not. Jake's not a power hitter.
No.
So he's trying to find those power numbers with this uppercut swing. I don't understand why players now are so open to having their swing completely change, and it's destroying their numbers.
I also don't understand it when he's already under contract.
Yeah.
I get it when you're young and you're in the arbitration years and you got to get the big contract, because what sells in Major League Baseball right now? Home runs.
Yeah.
The big contracts go to guys that have a high slug and hit home runs. At this point, like, he's gotten the money. He's under contract for the rest of his career, because when his contract is done with the Padres, he'll be 36. He might get maybe one more contract, like if he's lucky, but it's not going to be a lucrative one. He signed his lucrative contract. Now it's like, just go out there and play ball. I mean, I don't know what he has to worry about at this point in time. And I know hitting home runs is nice, but he's not that player. I just that's what's surprising to me about the way his swing is. Now let's look at like the April trend and last week because it's getting worse. Attack angle by game. Again, this is all numbers on Baseball Savant. His April trend shows extreme swings. Breaking balls frequently he's swinging at a 20 to 30 degree attack angle. Now, he's coming in like this. Very steep. Off speed starts high, then drops late. Fastballs bounce between plus 10 degrees and flat negative readings common. He actually has done well against the fastballs, but he's been unable to have successful swings against off speed because he keeps swinging up on him. It's much more variable than his steadier 6 to 7 degree seasons that he had where he was putting up good numbers. The 2026 average is 9 degrees, is higher on the fastballs, but daily inconsistency is new. Last week, continued volatility with his attack angle. Breaking balls spiked to approximately 31 degrees. The sweet spot, Frank, is 5 to 20. He was swinging at breaking balls at a 31 degree angle and then dropped sharply. Off-speed declined from 27 degrees to 14 degrees. Fastballs ended negative, not stabilizing yet. At least it sounds like he's made somewhat of an adjustment with his attack angle, so that's good. The ideal attack angle percentage by game, extremely spiky in the month of April, multiple 100% days, perfect optimal range on the few pitches seen, mixed with 25 to 35% days. And in his career, lower consistency than 2024, 2025 peaks. But last week, he had some elite days, but also approximately 33 to 35% days, still inconsistent. And that's like trying to hit the right attack angle every time. The percentage of him doing that, he has had good days, he has had bad days, he's been all over the place. Swing length by game has been longer overall on the breaking and off-speed pitches, noticeably longer than what his numbers have been in his career. Last week, he has had the longest swings of the year before shortening. Off-speed also long. This extra length pairs with higher bat speed, but also can hurt the timing, and that's where you get those ground balls. The takeaway from like last week for Jake, because we got to wrap up this segment, his most aggressive swing period, it was his most aggressive swing period this season. He had the highest bat speeds of April last week, longest swings and steepest attack angles on non-fastballs, which is not good, and some perfect ideal days, but still wild day-to-day swings and angle tilt and consistency, which what that tells me is he's trying to make adjustments as we go. That's what it tells me. So for the Padres, the underlying tools are improving, not collapsing, so that's good for Jake. The last week's harder, longer swing is a positive sign for power upside, but the inconsistency means he's still a regression candidate rather than a guaranteed fix. So the Padres, I think, are going to keep starting him and give him time. His swing transition needs probably another 50 to 100 plate appearances to really settle in on his swing. But if the volatility drops and a launch angle climbs even 2 to 3 degrees, his production should normalize pretty quickly. So, everything is kind of amped up right now, and I think it's probably him putting a little bit more pressure on himself. He's got a faster bat. Unfortunately, he's got longer path and steeper angles, and this is intentional evolution for a more power lift structure that he's looking for, but it explains why he's got ongoing ground ball issues, 56% ground ball rate, and a 7.3 degree launch angle. He's getting poor actual results despite decent exit velocity and his expected weighted on base average. So I think he's adjusting his swing. And to everybody like listening that goes like, why don't the Padres know all this information? And that's why you're seeing him adjust his swing during the week. Mm-hmm. And you've seen it. So he's slowly starting to make improvement. But the biggest problem for Jake right now is his upward swing on off speed. He has to be able to adjust on the off speed pitches because other teams are getting the same reports. And they know if I throw off speed and I throw breaking ball stuff to Jake Cronenworth, he's going to get on top of it based on his, I'm going to try to launch angle this thing out of the ballpark, and you're going to get a lot of ground ball outs for Jake. And I think you've seen that. So that's the overall breakdown that we did. And what inspired us to do it was Kristen Scripps Ranch calling in going like, he's swinging too high. He is literally too much of a uppercut swing. And I think you saw that on display throughout this weekend, Frank.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you could really see it pronounced in Anaheim because the press box there is a little bit lower. It's set a little bit further back and lower than it is at Petco, and you can really see him getting like up under and trying to swing up instead of trying to swing level and swing through. So it's really, when you're trying to turn your body in that way, it's really not a surprise that he's having the amount of trouble that he's having.
Do we have a contestant for the Midday Sports Standoff?
We do, yeah.
All right, we'll get to that when we come back to start the 1 o'clock hour. Start diving into what the Padres expect from the Rockies. And San Diego FC got smoked over the weekend. We'll talk about that as well in the 1 o'clock hour. Braden Surprenant Show. Not over yet. Still just getting started. Got an hour left, though. The last hour of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in each and every day on San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. We usually do this at 12:45, but we took a deep dive into Jake Cronenworth's swing metrics on why he might be struggling at the plate. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. Too much of an uppercut swing. It looks like, based on some of the data that we have collected from last week on Baseball Savant, he is making those adjustments. So we'll see if he can fully do that. That's why I have a holdout hope. And again, the biggest takeaway, Frank, as we talked about, was his bat speed is actually improving, which that is a sign of the natural ability. So it's not that he is incapable of playing at a major league level. He just has to make a couple of adjustments, and he's in the process of doing so and currently not getting results. And when you make adjustments like this and it comes to your swing, it's going to take some at-bats. It doesn't automatically happen. It just clicks, and now you're set. It takes time to apply all these adjustments that I'm sure the Padres have been working with him on. And I know he's taking the extra at-bats. He's doing all that at practice, like before games. I mean, he's putting the work in. So hopefully he starts to see the fruits of his labor a little bit.
Yeah, physically he's fine. It's not like he's being overmatched or anything. It's just the process and the swing, the actual physical action is broken. He's fine.
We're going to get to the midday sports standoff in just a second. Let's get out to the phones. Juan in Oceanside wants to weigh in. Juan, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Braden? What's up, Frank? I thought that segment was super interesting on Cronenworth. It's very enlightening. But more than anything, I'm calling in to talk about SDFC. I know you guys will probably get to it at some point, but I just feel like it's gotten a little bit better as far as the adjustments made with the team. But to me, it just feels like the back line is just, the lack of depth is really hurting them. And the youth is just overpowered constantly. And, you know, we can talk about the lack of a playmaker and not having Chucky Lozano, but I think it's up to Tyler Heaps and the organization to find a replacement, because, you know, I'm okay with not having Chucky Lozano, but we have to have something else to provide more depth and more firepower in the front. Just want to get your thoughts at some point.
Yeah, well, it's a good phone call. And I do agree. I mean, we've been talking about, I feel like, the same thing for the last month and a half now, Frank, about the problems of San Diego FC.
They made progress, though.
They're making progress, but they
no
still
red
need to
card.
No red card. They actually got to finish the game with 11 guys.
Yeah, that's goal
Step
achieved.
in the right direction. Step in the right direction for San Diego FC. We're going to talk more about that in the final segment of the show today, but your overall takeaway on Juan's phone call about they got to find a way to add some depth to this team. It's one thing not to have Chucky Lozano part of the team and whatever, but it'd be nice to kind of fill that role. And I know they've been trying to find a new home for him because he still counts as one of their players with money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is that called again? A designated player?
Yes.
He still counts as a designated player. He's kind of burning a designated player spot for him for San Diego FC.
Here's the thing: as soccer fans know this, but if you're watching San Diego FC and this is your first real introduction to soccer, there's only 2 times during the year where you can actually make transfers. It's the summer window, which is July and August, and then there's the winter window, which is in January. So they're kind of stuck right now with the team that they have for the moment. They have to wait until the summer before they can get guys, before they can start moving guys out. So Lozano, they couldn't get him out in the 4 weeks of January. Now they have to wait until the summer before they can get him out. So they're right now, unless they're calling guys up from the youth academy or from their depth that they have, this is what they got. And they're not going to be able to add anyone until that summer transfer period opens up in July when the new calendar year for soccer begins. So you are where you are right now as far as San Diego FC is concerned.
And they got to play better at the back line. At least they've made the improvement of not committing a red card.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Honestly, that is great news for a team that had done it. How many games now in a row?
6 in a row.
6 in a row, playing a man down. So hopefully they can put that behind them and turn it in a different direction. Let's get to today's Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, in order, or what you're playing, what our contestant is playing for, if our contestant could take me down in some type of trivia, he'd be entered, or she, for a chance to win this month's grand prize, a pair of field-level seats, the Padres and Phillies, on Memorial Day. Who is that lucky contestant today?
That'd be Gavin in La Mesa. Gavin, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Something that we missed last week was that Xander Bogaerts hit his 200th career home run. Now, the Padres have not had a player hit 200 home runs for them just yet. But that brings up the question, who has the top 10 most home runs in San Diego Padre history? Gavin, you have the first guess. Anyone in the
Barry
top
Bonds.
10? What was that?
Can you hear me?
No, I thought, what did you say?
I said Barry Bonds.
For the Padres.
For the Padres, yes. Okay, we're gonna go with a buzzer on that one. Braden, first crack.
Manny Machado just passed somebody.
Manny Machado is number 1 on the list. He has the most home runs as a Padre, 196. Gavin?
Nate Colbert.
Nate Colbert is number 2 on the list. He's hit 163. Braden?
Yeah, that was my next guess because he was the career guy for home runs. All right, let's go with, I think Fernando's actually up on that list. It doesn't take a lot for the Padres just because of guys not playing on the teams, or guys not on the Padres for a long period of time.
Fernando is number 6 at 152. Gavin?
Tony Gwynn.
He would be number 7 at 135.
Let's go with Dave Winfield.
He is number 5 at 154. Gavin?
Will Myers.
Will Myers is number 8 on the list. Braden?
I'm pretty sure Adrian Gonzalez is near the top. He was like close to beating Nate Colbert.
He came 2 shy of Nate Colbert. He's 3rd at 161. So we're missing number 4, number 9, and number 10.
Phil Nevin.
Phil Nevin, correct. Number 4 with 156. We're missing 9 and 10.
Ken Caminiti.
He is number 10. Gavin, you still have a chance. If you get this one right, you're going to tie it.
Ryan Kalasco. Can't say his last name.
Correct. That is 5 and 5. Gavin, hang on the line. I'll get your information during the break. So there you go. Padres top 10 home run hitters in their careers.
He didn't know how to pronounce any of the names that he was reading off of the sheet in front of him. Klesko? Nevin? Come on. Really? His first answer was what, Frank?
I'm not getting in the middle of this.
Barry
Bonds. He tied the game.
What happened to your question you were going to do last week?
Yeah, we're going to save that for. We're going to save that for Wednesday now, since that'll be the last time we have a chance to do that this week. That'll be the last opportunity to play the game this week. Will be Wednesday.
All right.
We're going to do like a fun Friday question from now on.
Fun Friday question. I'm telling you, dude, you don't have to get you can mix in the other stuff.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do.
I can't even tell you the pronunciation he had for Ryan Klesko. I can't even think about it off the top of my head. Wow.
I plead the fifth. All I know is he's going to.
He created a ton of enemies in the YouTube chat, man.
All I know is that he has a chance to go see the Padres and Phillies. That's all I know.
I should have left Ken Caminiti to see how you would have pronounced that one. Should have left all the difficult pronunciations. So funny. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Fernando Tatis Jr. His power's down, but he is hitting the ball really well. And we actually got we didn't really get to this because it happened on Friday at the conclusion of our show, obviously, but they actually asked the players about some player reactions to the sale of the Padres to Jose Feliciano. We'll talk about that in the next segment as well. I think Steve and Poway actually wants to talk Padres baseball, though. Let's get out to Steve and Poway real quick on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, great analysis. Love that about Jake Cronenworth. You missed one part that maybe I missed when I wasn't listening. I think one of his number one problems is he never swings at first pitches. He puts himself in the hole almost every at bat. They throw the ball down the middle almost every time and it puts him in a hole. Throw him a curveball low and inside. Now he's down 0-2 and he's on the defense the rest of the time. So I think that's one of the issues that I see. And I remember Dave Parker was interviewed in San Diego about 5 years ago. And at the end of the interview, they asked him, what's your advice for the modern day player? He said, swing at the first pitch. He goes, I'm not up there to walk. I'm up there to get base hits, drive in runs. I think that's one of his problems. Number two, let's talk about the white elephant in the room, which is Manny Machado. Manny Machado couldn't hit for a month and a half last year, couldn't hit in the playoffs, hasn't hit since he's come back this year. I don't know if he's getting old. I don't know if he's had too many pina coladas in the Bahamas, but something's not right with that guy. The rest of the team's picking him up. I get it. But at some point, if you're going to be called a so-called superstar, which you're not right now, you need to contribute to the team.
Steve, I appreciate the phone call. We talked mostly about Jake Cronenworth's swing path, obviously something that he is that he has been working on based on some of the analytics we have seen. It has gone to that point. But when we're discussing Manny Machado again, he usually gets off to slow starts, and he's eventually going to hit. He has hit every single year that he's been a Padre. I think you got to have some patience with him because for most of the time, the Padres went where Manny Machado went. Right now, Manny's not doing that great, and the Padres are still winning. I think it's going to turn around. And you know what? There's nothing better to get the offense going in terms of power numbers than playing on the moon in Colorado and playing on Mars in Mexico City in terms of the elevation numbers. I mean, the ball is going to fly all week long. I mean, so here's what Padres fans need to realize going into this week. The starting pitching and the bullpen might give up a little bit more than you're expected. I mean, if they go up there and shove in Colorado, that's great news. But pitching in Colorado is tough because a lot of your stuff does not work as well at high altitude. The outfield's huge, and the ball jumps there at Colorado, which everybody knows this. And then when you get to Mexico City, Frank and I discussed the amount of home runs that were hit the last time the Padres were there. I mean, it was like almost every pitch. Almost every at bat. I think almost every run was scored via a home run. Wasn't that right, Frank? When they were down in Mexico City?
Yeah, there was a vast majority of them were for sure.
I mean, it was a lot. So I think you're going to see some power numbers adjust. And again, like for me, Frank, I'm not super worried about Manny Machado because he finds he gets hot eventually. And what you want is you want him to get hot for the middle and the end of the season. Then at the beginning. The fact that you're winning despite him not hitting very well, I think is good news. It's taken him a lot. Sure. It's taken him a lot to get going in almost every single year of his career with the Padres.
Yeah, he's not a strong starter.
Last year was a little bit of an anomaly, but we'll take a look at it. I do want to talk about Fernando's numbers. I think a lot of people are worried about Fernando's numbers in terms of power numbers, but he's hitting the ball well. I mean, he's hitting the ball well to all fields. I mean, he is really you know what I saw him do a couple of times this weekend? Is that slider away that's just a disgusting pitch for everybody that he usually swings and misses at. He kind of like flicked it out over into right field a couple of times this weekend. That was good to see. So he's finding different ways to, get himself on base. He's hitting the ball incredibly hard. And, for the Padres, yes, you want to see Fernando get some more power numbers up there, but I think he's hitting the ball well. I think he's going to come out of his, relatively his slump, if you will. So in terms of his power numbers, he's going to hit a home run eventually. He's not going to have 0 home runs. But anyway, if you look at some of the stats that Manny Machado has put up in his first couple of years with the Padres, like in the first couple of months, I mean, not to say, like, I guess he would take this, but he hit 236 in his first month in a Padres uniform with a 693 OPS. 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. Everybody was freaking out about it then when they signed him, and he ended up having a good year in 2019. I didn't want to include 2020. That's kind of a waste anyway, but early months for 2021, again, for the entire first month of the year for Manny Machado in 2021, it's another year where he didn't necessarily put up the greatest numbers in the world either. He gets off to slow starts. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Padres players reacting to the potential sale to Jose Feliciano. We'll talk about San Diego FC in a little bit as well, and we'll dive into what Fernando has done at the plate, this season so far, and why it's a step in the right direction. We'll get to all of that as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Number One Sports Station 97 to the Fan. Something's in the water in San Diego. I think it's a good discussion for us tomorrow, Frank. We could take a deeper look at the just how good Mason Miller has been.
Yeah, we've been planning on doing it, and we've been passing it over because we've had so much stuff to cover over these last couple of weeks. But yeah, he deserves his flowers right now.
I mean, he's getting the national stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's just so good that it's just like nothing surprises you anymore. But we talk about this consecutive scoreless streak. I mean, he, as Adam Klug mentioned to us, I'm sure they're going to talk about it on Gwen and Chris now. But as Adam mentioned to us, and I didn't even think about this, Mason Miller has given up 2 runs in a Padres uniform since being acquired by the from the Athletics. Mason Miller's given up 2 total runs. Those 2 runs came on 1 swing. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hit a home run off Mason Miller in a 10-5 victory for the Padres in 11 innings against the Diamondbacks back on August 5th, 2025. That has been the only 2 runs that he has given up in a Padres uniform. That is absurd.
It's nasty work.
And by the way, when we talk about this consecutive scoreless streak, they do not include. Do they include the playoffs in there?
I don't believe so.
Do they include the WBC?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. I mean, you look at last year and how many runs he gave up. 18 earned runs last year. 16 of those earned runs came in an A's uniform. 2 came in a Padres uniform, and they were on 1 swing of the bat. Did you know last season? I'm just looking at this now. In a Padres uniform last season, I haven't seen it this year. Has he got a strikeout in every game this year?
I believe so. Maybe not the first, but the first outing was a little shaky. But other than that, I believe he has.
Look that up real quick.
I would be more surprised to learn that he hasn't than if he has.
Look at the game logs for Mason Miller for 2026. Look at strikeouts. Yes, he has had a strikeout at least. In fact, he has had multiple strikeouts in every outing this year except for 1, and that was against Seattle a couple of days ago when Craig Steppen made a joke about it.
Yeah.
Did you know
he's washed
in a Padres uniform? Mason Miller, out of all of the, how many has he had? Out of all of the appearances he has had for the Padres in a Padres uniform, he has a strikeout in every single game except for 1. He has at least 1 strikeout. What is the daily betting on the over-under of the strikeouts for Mason Miller per outing? What is it, like over-under 2.5?
You want me to make it a little bit crazier for you? That strikeout, that walk that he had on Saturday was the first walk he's had since his first outing of the season. And his 20 pitches that he threw
the most
on Saturday is the most he's thrown all season. He threw 19 on April 1st. He threw 18 in his first outing. He has not thrown more than 15 pitches since then until Saturday.
I don't care, whatever which way you want to look at Mason Miller's game logs, something jumps out to you every single time. Something crazy jumps out to you every single time.
We sit back and watch him in the press box. We just sit back and laugh. That's all you can do. He is so disgusting to watch on television. Go watch him in person. He is nasty to the point where if I'm in the batter's box against him, I'm looking over at my coach after he throws that first 102 mile an hour fastball past me. I'm like, you want me to hit this? You're expecting me to hit this. I know I'm a professional athlete. I know I'm making tens of millions of dollars.
Did you see
I'm not hitting that.
Did you see Vaughn Grissom yesterday?
No.
You didn't see him against Mason Miller yesterday?
No.
Mason Miller throws him a slider. He ducks out of the way for his life, thinking he's going to get hit in the face, and it was like almost right down the middle. And he looked back at the umpire like, was that? And he was like, yeah, that's a strike.
Excuse me?
Hey, wicked. He literally like goes like he's about to get drilled in the face. He did like the Fernando like flip back.
Can I have
Just for me and just strike.
Well, do you mind if I have a challenge here just so I can see where the pitch was?
Yeah,
I don't care.
Where did that look?
I don't care whether it's a strike or not. I just want to see where it was that
You know
I
what?
ran away
I will
from
say
it.
this. If you are losing in a game, you might as well just save your challenges for the last inning for Mason Miller just to see how cool, just to see where he locates pitches. Just be like, I'm not hitting that. There's no way. I just want to see it.
I mean, and now it's also another thing I just noticed. Back-to-back outings, April 8th and 9th against Pittsburgh and Colorado. 10 pitches, 9 strikes.
He is
5 strikeouts.
He is only allowed a multi-hit outing once in a Padres uniform. It was his first outing. He gave up 2 hits.
He's allowed 2 hits this season, period.
He is allowed the same amount of hits this season as he is allowed earned runs in a Padres uniform in his career. 2. I'm telling you, the more you look at like his game logs, the more you're just like, are you kidding me? And we never pay attention to it because it's just automatic. Every time he comes in, it's automatic. We'll take a different look at this tomorrow, but
he struck out the side. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're looking at this year?
6, 7, 8. Before Anaheim, he had 8 appearances before Anaheim in the month of April. He struck out the side in 6 of them.
He's ridiculous.
6 of 8 before Anaheim. He's 6 of 10 with Anaheim in there in the month of April.
Shoot, his first two games in a Padres uniform. 2 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, a home run and a walk, 3 strikeouts, 9 ERA, faced 9 batters. I bet you people were incensed. We traded Leo DeVries for this guy. Yep.
Lourdes Gurriel, you owe every single batter going up against the Padres down runs in a very, very big apology. You done made him mad, is what you did.
How many home runs has he allowed in his career? I mean, probably a lot, maybe early in his career. He has allowed a home run as a Padre.
He's allowed 13 home runs in his career. 6 of them came in 2024.
When he was an all-star. Surprisingly
he has had 11 in the last 2 years. He gave up 2 in his rookie season, 6 in Oakland in 24, 4 with the A's
1
in 25, and then 1 with the Padres.
In the last 2 years, he's given up 5 total home runs. I guess we're not a full season yet, but it's truly remarkable how his numbers have been. Do you know what his ERA plus was last year in a Padres uniform?
No.
5.61. I didn't know it got that high. I mean, I'm sure it goes on forever, but his ERA plus, which is like a look at like how he does compared to like average baseball players. It's adjusted to like players' ballparks and everything like that. And the rule of thumb is 100 is an average player. So his rookie year, he was a 112 ERA plus, which means he was 12% better than an average pitcher. He's been 112 ERA plus, 159 ERA plus, 168 ERA plus last year. But that was a 119 with the A's and a 561 with the Padres. Ridiculous. His fielding independent pitching. This is a stat I had to you know, everybody missed,
if you will.
Everybody missed when I put into Grok explain fielding independent pitching to a 60-year-old male that a 60-year-old that used to play baseball back in the day, which is I was just basically talking about Ello, and I had to show it to Ello, and Ello actually understood what we were talking about at that point.
There you go. It worked.
At one point in the explanation, Grok said, "Well, back in your day," funniest line. That was so funny. Fielding independent pitching is a stat that measures a pitcher's effectiveness at preventing home runs, walks, hit by a pitch, and causing strikeouts. So it basically eliminates the fielding portion of this. These are all things that cannot be fielded. It's a good sign of like it accounts for maybe the defense not helping you out. These are things that you kind of control as a pitcher. You can control home runs, walks, hit by a pitch, and strikeouts.
Tomorrow's going to be our deep dive day.
Yes.
It's a deep dive into Mason Miller, a deep dive into Fernando.
Because I have so much time to put all that together with all the other stuff we have to do today.
I already did all that.
I know, but we have to physically record it.
Right.
And as long as technology works, which it didn't last week because we were here till 5:40.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
The fact that we were here longer than Gwen and Chris was insanity.
Yeah, we were.
But anyway, so fielding independent pitching, that's like it looks like an ERA, but it factors fielding out of it. Do you know what his fielding independent pitching is this year? It's negative. It's a negative 1.11. I didn't know it could be negative. That is absurd. When we come back, we'll hear from the Padres and the players on the Padres team that have their thoughts about the new sale of the San Diego Padres. We missed that on Friday. It was after our show. They asked them in the clubhouse on Friday night. We'll get to that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Oh, man. You can literally look at anything. You could literally look at anything Mason Miller does and just be like, that's ridiculous. These numbers are just off the charts. I mean, everything's about it off the charts. He's going to come back down to earth eventually. Not to a crazy level because it just happens. But like, what is your strategy against him? What would it even be?
Swing hard in case you hit it.
Hope and pray, kids. Hope and pray. I don't even know, or like, how do you, what's your approach? I mean, I'd be curious to see like what teams are coming up with to try to like figure it out. Did you see Ramon Laureano over the weekend talking about this?
I did. I don't remember what he said, but I did see something about it. Yes.
He was talking. He's like, I don't even want to wear my glove.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
There's like no reason.
He said he wants to take his glove off in the outfield.
Who was that with? Because it's not a bad clip. But I remember he was just like, I'm just out there. And I know I'm not going to make any plays because I'm never going to get the ball. Like, you almost don't want them to fall asleep out there just in case somebody actually does hit the ball off of Mason Miller. I mean, he's been ridiculous.
I got it here. It was from Foul Territory.
All right, let's play this. This is he was clean, right? He didn't. I don't remember him cussing. Just have the dump button ready.
Yeah.
Never know with podcasts. Here's Ramon Laureano on Foul Territory talking about what it's like playing defense behind Mason Miller.
When I'm in the outfield and Mason is pitching, I think it's been the only time in my career when I'm just like watching. I don't even care about making a play because I am not going to make a play. I have thought of taking my glove off, but like that would be so disrespectful. It's really unbelievable.
Have you faced him at all in your career?
Yeah, I told him that I was taking the whole time and I walked. And in spring training, I could have faced him a couple times, but for what? Like why would you face him in spring training? There's no really reason for that. It's a whole nother planet, really, this guy. It's unbelievable.
That's Ramon Laureano talking about Mason Miller. I'd take my glove off, but it would be disrespectful. Could you imagine? Laureano's just out there sitting like Zach Greinke and during the COVID season when he's waiting for the mound to get fixed. He's just out there. He's got his glove on his head. He's just like, I don't know what you want me to do, Skip.
If I were the hitter and I saw that, I'd be like, I'd point the bat out there and be like, listen, I understand. And you're right. But could you not?
Dude, like, he could literally do.
Like, you're right to do what you're doing, because I have no shot here. But could you at least pretend?
I don't know. I don't think I still have the picture, but he could literally do what somebody I know in the old pro softball league did. He got so fed up with his like team being bad and they were just getting smoked. He literally went out to right field with his chair and a beer, and he was just sitting out there. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Ramon Laureano could literally go out there with a folding chair and just sit out there when Mason Miller's pitching.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah, 100%. All of them. I don't know if I have that picture anymore. I think it's like in my archive somewhere. But it's truly remarkable what he's been able to do. Let's talk a little bit about like what the Padres players' reaction was to the ownership sale potentially. And we have some of these clips, right, on 97.3's Twitter, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look here.
I think we do.
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And like Manny's got some good answers on there. So we'll get to that in a second. But overall, like we talked about this a lot. We talked about this a lot on Friday, obviously. But the Padres are nearing a record-shattering $3.9 billion sale, which is the highest price ever paid for an MLB franchise, to a group led by private equity billionaire Jose Feliciano and his wife, Kwanzaa Jones. The deal, which eclipses the previous record of $2.4 billion sale of the New York Mets in 2020, has stunned players across the clubhouse and sparked a wave of optimism mixed with cautious hope about the franchise's future. Manny Machado spoke, Fernando Tatis Jr. spoke, Joe Musgrove spoke, Jay Cronenworth spoke, and the overall core theme of this was the sale validates the aggressive roster building strategy the Padres have pursued the last 2 seasons. Trade deadline additions like Mason Miller, Ramon Laureano, Freddie Fermin in 2025, all while watching the bottom line. Players repeatedly stress that ownership and payroll decisions are out of their control, but the record price is personally motivating because it suggests the new group will pair Seidler's passion and vision with actual financial muscle, which is also encouraging and great to see for the Padres. Now, timing is definitely critical. The deal lands just months before the CBA expires, as owners have been lobbying hard for a salary cap to control skyrocketing costs. Padres valuation undercuts that narrative by showing a mid-market team can command big market money when the product is strong. The overall tone from the locker room, though, is cautious excitement about the new ownership group. And no one is popping champagne yet, but the overall consensus is that the $3.9 billion buyer didn't pay a premium to stand pat. They paid it to win. Now, I will say this with the ownership claims. Again, players are going to see this and be like, look, anybody can do this. I don't necessarily think everybody has the same unique situation the Padres do because of, what Peter Seidler's vision was. Like, yes, I guess, demanding that you spend a ton of money, and there's a lot of teams that need to spend more money, would up the value a little bit. I think the Padres are a unique situation in which they spent money and they've had excitement in a town that has never won before and in a town that doesn't compete with anything else. I mean, it's literally the Padres. Like, you want to mention some of these other small market teams, right? That they talk about. Like in Pittsburgh, yes, they got to spend more money. But like, are the Pirates ever going to be bigger than the Steelers? Are the Pirates ever going to be bigger than the Penguins, who have won multiple Stanley Cups? Like, there's just because the Padres have spent money and have sold out stadiums. I think the fact that we're in Southern California, I think the fact that the weather's great during the summertime here in San Diego, I think the fact that the stadium's great and is a place to be, and the fact that San Diego's never won a championship and the owners are trying. I think the bar had been set pretty low for owners before the Seidler family showed up, just in town in general. You build it, they will come. I mean, I think that's the case for San Diego. Is that the case for some of these other small market clubs? I don't necessarily know if that really is the case. Like, let's look at Anaheim for a second. Like, they have a high payroll. For like the last couple of years, they've had a decent payroll. They just spend it on dumb things, but they don't necessarily have the greatest value in the world for their team. And they don't, because Artie Moreno took the team off the market. Now, they got to spend the money, I think, in a better way, but it's not like they don't spend money. Their payroll's almost up to $200 million. It was $200 million payroll last year. But they got a bad stadium. They're surrounded by other sports teams. I find it to be a little bit different for other situations. Who are the other small market? There are the other teams that are small market. They don't spend any money, like Miami,
Kansas City. They got to compete with the Chiefs. Kansas City spent $150 million on their payroll this year. Kansas City does have an agent. They have to get a new stadium, I think, to increase the value of their team. I think they'd have to sign some bigger free agents. But as much as I think the players want to use the Padres as an example, see, anybody can do it, I still don't think anybody can do it. I think it was the vision of Peter Seidler. I think it was the fact that the Padres have made Petco Park the place to be. I think they have, made improvements to a stadium that's already been good. I think in order for a lot of these organizations to try to catch up with the Padres, they got to have it takes years to do. To say that anybody can do this, I think is I think it discredits what the Seidler family was able to accomplish in this market. Now, that being said, they have shown a blueprint for how to do exactly what to do as a small market team to be competitive, to increase your value. At the end of the day, it's spend money on talent, be good, you're going to fill the place. And it really eliminates the narrative, Frank, of, just spending money is not going to
It defeats the narrative of like the whole thing of that owners want to say. It's like, oh, it's not just winning that brings people into the stadium. It does. You win, people show up. You lose, they don't. That's just kind of how fans are in general. As much as every fan base thinks that they're a loyal fan base, I'm looking at you, St. Louis, who used to sell out all the games, and then as soon as you guys went to crap, you stopped showing up. If you're good, people show up. I think everybody has seen that. Padres have had the best years of success that they have had in decades, and people show up. They also make it a nice place to be. I think they've done everything the right way, but I don't think everybody can replicate what the Padres have done.
No, definitely not. And for what the Padres have done as a team, that you don't find too many low payroll franchises turn around their entire franchise history by going out and magically starting to sell, magically starting to buy and getting putting a lot of money on the payroll and being able to maintain it every single year. Now, we've seen years where, think of the Kansas City Royals from 2014 and 15. They had a lot of money on those payrolls, and then they immediately got rid of it. The Padres have not gotten rid of it, which is why I think you see so many of these national pundits saying, oh, they got to sell off, because they're not used to seeing the Padres do this. And I think it's been long enough now that this organization has become a spender like a big market, and that's going to remain. So no, other teams do not and have not had the ability that the San Diego Padres have had to do what they're doing right now.
Right. So as much as I think a lot of people think this is going to, these labor negotiations are so complex that one event is not going to drastically impact what happens in these labor negotiations. Both sides still want what they want. Hopefully it helps lead to a permanent decision on some of these things. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Enjoy the night off for the Padres. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Quinn and Chris coming up next.